first year in Tampa Bay. There's no way on God's green earth that he witnesses that, and then it's just like, okay, yeah, well, we'll build for the future. We'll be back in a few years.
Listen and subscribe to The Mina Kimes Show, featuring Lenny, wherever you listen to podcasts.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Well, we are Dayton's home of the Cincinnati Reds, and the Cincinnati Reds disappointed us last night. How about that? I mean, I figured one of those type of shellackings was on its way. The Milwaukee Brewers taking it to the Cincinnati Reds last night in game one of a 4-game series. Reds now drop back to 7. Remember, I talked about the other day that, it was just, there's going to be losses. You're going to lose games. There's going to be plenty of games that you lose. There's going to be plenty of games that you win. But that Kansas City Royals loss, that 1-run loss, that 7-6 loss that should have been, they had a multiple run lead heading into the final. 7-6 was that final. Those are the little losses right there that come back and haunt you, especially after they drop game 1 to the Brewers. That's the difference between being 7 and 6 games back, which may not sound like a lot. But when you want to talk about the fact that this is a team right now that desperately needed to split with this Brewers team, and they're already down 0-1. That means they need to win 2 of the next 3. It was important to set the tone last night against 2 pitchers, the pitcher last night for the Brewers and their starters tonight. These were 2 games that the Reds needed because the 2 best starters for the Brewers are on the back half of this series. I think that the Reds dropped an opportunity, yes, in game 2 against the Royals, despite taking 2 or 3 from them. And then yesterday, just a very unfortunate outcome last night. And I don't want to do the whole woulda, coulda, shoulda thing, but I mean, that was a game they needed to win. Desperately, and that's what we'll spend some time on today. We had a good conversation with the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy yesterday that we'll touch on here in a moment as well. But I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash, hanging out with you here on a Friday.
Buddy.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Again, we appreciate everyone who's tuned in and locked in, hanging out with us here today, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on YouTube, many different ways you could take us in, listen, stream, and now watch. Lots to get into today. We do have an announcement about the TBT on WING. We're pretty pumped about that. In fact, I'll go ahead and give you just the cliff notes of it. Excuse me. Holy smokes. Okay, start this over. But the Cliff Notes version of this is this, that the TBT on WING is back. Every Carmen's Crew game and every Red Scare game, the alumni teams for the Buckeyes and the Dayton Flyers men's basketball team, they will be in action in the TBT coming up, and you can catch both and all teams in every game for those teams right here on 1410 Wing AM. We're pretty excited about that. We'll be calling the games at the Covelli Center, and if we are fortunate enough to see the Red Scare and Carmen's Crew advance to the championship week at UD Arena, we'll be calling the games there as well. So we're pretty pumped about that.
Man, listen, you know how epic that will be? My fingers are crossed that happens, man.
Well, the last time these two teams played, it was unbelievable. The atmosphere for that was unreal. I saw Wichita State. They retweeted their alumni team from 2 years ago. It was at Wichita State, and Wichita State's alumni team played there, and it was packed as hell. I mean, it felt like, I was like, is this a replay from a game in November, December, January, February? No, it was July game. Wichita State freaking basketball. So I would expect the same thing here with the Flyer faithful. That's for sure. So with that being said, I want to kick things off here on a Friday, just a little loose. And that's going to be, of course, Kev Nash bringing us over, under, hit the tone.
Kev Nash brings you over, under.
All right, Kev, kick us off. We will get things started in Major League Baseball. Touched on it lightly to start, but the Cincinnati Reds go down to the Brewers 0-1 already here in the early going of this 4-game set.
Yeah, your Cincinnati Reds lost game 1 of their 4-game series versus the Brew Crew 5-3. So over or under 1 win for the Reds in the rest of the series.
I said it earlier, it's going to be tough. I mean, right now it's now shrunk to a 3-game series. I mean, we looked at it yesterday. It's a 4-game series. You lose game 1 on the road. It's tough to win on the road, despite the Reds actually having success on the road, and they've had success against all their division opponents. They've already swept the Brewers this year, but that doesn't mean anything. Right now, this Brewers team, I said this yesterday, and I saw it yesterday in the game, Kev. Like, for the first time in a while, I felt like a team looked at the Reds coming in and took them serious. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to be said about that. There's a lot to be said about that. Like, I still think that that's what happened to the Cleveland Browns. Freddie Kitchens is the main reason that the Browns just totally, basically collapsed that year. But I do think that year, they were 0-16. The next season, they win 7 games or whatever it was. Baker Mayfield played great his rookie year, broke Peyton Manning's record. They won some games. They won quite a few games. And I think, they caught some teams by surprise a little bit because the year before they're 0-16. And it's the Cleveland freaking Browns, right? Like, come on. All the hype, I don't believe that the Browns were overhyped that year. I do believe that they didn't live up to the expectations, but I thought that the hype was warranted. I mean, look at all the hype that Bengals fans give their team, who won 4 games last year. And they're saying, "No, we got our quarterback, so the sky's the limit as far as what we can do." Everyone overhypes their team. I think teams will take the Bengals a little bit more serious this year than they did last year. Just like the Browns were taken a lot more serious in year 2 than they were in year 1 with Baker Mayfield. And that's kind of what's going on with the Cincinnati Reds. For the first time last night, I saw a division team, the leader, the Brewers. Really, you could tell the urgency was there. Like, they were locked in. I don't feel like the Cardinals are locked in all the time when it comes to the Reds. I never feel like the Cubs have been low. They've been struggling with everybody. And I definitely don't feel like the Brewers have given the Reds the respect that they deserve. I felt last night that was what we were going to see, was the Brewers really looking at this as not the Cincinnati Reds, but it's a battle of 1 versus 2. I'll give David Bell and the Reds this. Despite their deficiencies, they have the attention of Major League Baseball. We saw that last night. The Brewers did not treat that like we got the Reds in town. It was, man, we got a very good Reds team in town. Yes, they have deficiencies. We got to take advantage of that. And if it wasn't for the Brewers making some mental mistakes with a couple wild pitches, it may not have even been close to begin with. So very interesting game last night, but I do think that the Brewers now are looking at the Reds as a true threat. And now the Reds have to be prepared moving forward to, we're not going to catch teams by surprise anymore. We're 4 or 5 games, now 4 or 3 games above 500. We're not surprising anybody. We're going to get teams are going to take us serious now when we come into town. We're not going to catch people by surprise. I want to say over on this, but I really am concerned after what I saw last night. The Brewers look locked in. I'm going to say under. I think the Reds win 1 of the next 3, and I think they lose this series 1-3, unfortunately.
I'm going over. I still believe the Reds are going to win 2 of these games. I said they were going to split yesterday in the 4-game series, so I still say they're still going to get 2 wins in this series. That's the team that they are. They win some, they lose some. They're about a 500 team. That's how they've been playing baseball all season long. They go on streaks and then winning streaks and then go on losing streaks. So going into All-Star break is vital that they at least split this series. So I'm going to go with the over. I'm saying they're going to get 2 wins.
We're live, the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. So make sure you like and follow the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook. The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, is also live on ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel. So search ESPN Dayton, jump in the comment section, and we'll pull your comments into the show, like this one. Scott Campbell on YouTube. Stressful loss last night, but I'm still in. Let's go Reds. Yes, I was wrong on the sweep. Look, I'm wrong all the time. No one ever has to defend themselves when they're wrong. No one's going to, bat 100. I mean, come on now. That's just never going to happen. So, but with that being said, you don't want to be like Eugenio Suarez at this point either. But no, Scott, it's fine that you're wrong. I don't think this team's going to get swept. But Scott, answer this. Over under. What'd you say, Kev? 1 win. Over under 1 win for the final 3 games of this series to close out the first half of the season. I say under, or I say push, I guess. I'm saying that they're going to win 1. I think they go 1-2. I think they lose the series 3-1, unfortunately. Like I said, the Brewers, they looked at the Reds last night as a true threat. That says a lot about the Reds and David Bell and the way this team has fought through a lot of their deficiencies. But now we have to see this team overcome how teams come at them, because the Reds were catching people by surprise until this point. I don't think the Reds are going to get those easy wins anymore as far as catching teams on off nights. I think the Reds have everyone's attention, and we saw that last night with the Brewers. Kev, he says over. He says 2 wins. They go 2-1 to close out. Yep. I hope you're right. But the thing about splitting, you're just running in place at that point, Kev, because they were 6 games back heading into this series. Right. If they, win 2 of the next 3, right back where they started at only 6 games back. So we'll see how this works moving forward. Number 2.
Yeah, the Phoenix Suns took game 2 of the NBA Finals last night, winning 118-108. The series moves to Milwaukee on Sunday night. So over or under the series lasting 5.5 games.
Look, the Suns last night, they're not a 3-point shooting team. Saw Shaw last night running his mouth. I thought you and Kev said this wasn't a 3-point shooting team. They're not. but they were last night. I mean, Billy Hamilton's not a good hitter, but he puts the ball in play from time to time. I mean, that's what happened last night with Phoenix, and that's kind of where I'm at with this series. I'm going to say the over. I think Milwaukee gets it back together. Keep in mind, this is the finals. Mm-hmm. We preach so much about the youth of this. Actually, I mean, Phoenix is the youngest team in basketball, which is crazy. But of course, they have a seasoned veteran running point for them, which is the quarterback, of course, of basketball. But with that being said, I think we're going to see. We saw the youth come out in Milwaukee on the road in a hostile environment, and now it's going to be up to Milwaukee's fans to return the favor. Yep. I think Chris Paul is going to be locked in. But what about DeAndre Ayton, who got down on himself? I love that clip, by the way, of him and his coach kind of talking it through. But he got down on himself at home. Mm-hmm. I think you crumble even more when you're on the road. That's not a shot at him. It's youth, right? It's going to come out. So I think the youth will come out of Phoenix on the road, despite the leadership of Chris Paul and Monty Williams being a great coach that he is. And I think you're going to see Chris Middleton get more locked in. I think you're going to see Drew Holiday get more locked in. And of course, Giannis, he's been great. I mean, for the guy that's coming off of a hyperextended knee, the dude has looked like he hasn't missed any time at all. Giannis has been fantastic. So I'm going to say over. I think this game goes to at least 6 games. I still think Phoenix wins it, but I can see a scenario where this goes 7, because once Milwaukee tastes victory, I think they're going to kind of build on that confidence a bit. I still think this is an even series heading back to Phoenix. I'm going to say over. Phoenix had to shoot the lights out last night to win by 10. They're not normally known as a three-point shooting team. Without that 3 ball, they weren't getting easy looks inside. DeAndre Ayton was not comfortable. So that's what I'm saying is if that 3 ball is not there, which I don't know if that will travel with them to Milwaukee, I just think that as long as Giannis still plays the way he does, you get a better Chris Middleton, a better Drew Holiday, and Phoenix not shooting the 3 the way they did in Game 2. I still think Milwaukee takes the next 2 in Milwaukee, and it'll be a completely different series as we head back, or as they head back to Phoenix.
Man, I'm going to go with this is tough. This is very tough because it really all comes down to Game 4, I'm sorry. Because I believe Milwaukee's going to win on Sunday, and I think Milwaukee's going to win in a big way. So it really all comes down to that Game 4, because if Phoenix goes up 3-1, they're closing it out. They're going to close it out at home. But I'm going to believe in Milwaukee. I'm going to believe in the fact that Giannis is playing great basketball and his teammates are going to play better. The role players are going to play better at home. I'm going to say this goes at least 6 games. One thing that people have to realize, and especially, we've been guys that kind of banged on Coach Bud throughout this playoffs. But, yesterday's loss wasn't on Coach Bud. Coach Bud made the adjustment. He took Robin Lopez off the floor a lot. He changed up the coverage on the pick and roll. That's why they were hitting 3s, because they switched up the coverage. So they made an adjustment, meaning Milwaukee made an adjustment. So the Suns made their adjustment to go ahead. All right, you're going to give me that extra. You're going to go under. So I'm going to shoot the 3 ball. You know what I mean? So they adjusted to the adjustment. And like you said, you have Mikal Bridges go bananas, dropping 27, basically carrying the Suns in the first half. Him and Crowder carried them offensively in the first half. It wasn't until the second half where Devin Booker and Chris Paul really started going. And what can you say about Giannis, man? What can you say, man? Like, he's going out there putting up 40 and 12. Yeah, you can say he can't hit free throws, but he's giving everything he has. This really falls at the feet of Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. You guys got to play better basketball, plain and simple. And also another thing to keep out there and people don't neglect is the Phoenix Suns, their depth was one of their biggest strong suits. Is starting to lose some of that depth. Sarge is out for the rest of the series with the torn ACL.
I forgot about that aspect.
Craig, he just got injured last night. We're not sure about the severity of that injury, but like you look at those guys like, oh man, they only play like 10, 15 minutes apiece. Well, when you're in the NBA Finals, those matter. Like, those are bodies that they're throwing at Giannis. So now you're going to basically leave DeAndre Ayton and Frank Kaminsky to guard him the whole rest of the series. So the longer this series goes, at first the Suns were the healthier team, but now they're losing some of that depth. So that's something people need to watch out for, because longer it goes and healthier Giannis gets, look at his output from Game 1 to Game 2. What are you going to do in
What
game
was his
3?
minutes? I forgot to look at that because we did that over under last night or yesterday.
Giannis played 40 minutes last night.
So he played 40 minutes. I mean, that's 5 more minutes than he did the game before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, they need him on the floor. You could use him on the floor as long as you use him correctly. I think that they did that.
Man, he was hitting the turnaround jumper. Like, he did everything. He was hitting the turnaround jumper. He was crashing the boards. He was doing everything. You know, he was 15 to 22 from the floor. Yeah, he shot 5 threes, but you know what? When you're hitting 15 of your other shots, I'm cool with that. And he also hit his free throws, 11 for 18 from the free throw line. Giannis was unbelievable. This is all on Middleton and Drew Holiday. They need to step up.
Man, give him Dame Lillard. I'll take Dame Lillard and Giannis over LeBron, AD any day, just because I don't trust the health of AD. LeBron's getting old, but I'm telling you, I would jump on the Dame time bandwagon. I mean, I'm not ever denying the talent of him, but I'm just saying, it is what it is at this point. But
I go where Dame goes.
So that's how the NBA works, man. That's how the NBA works. All right, on to number 3. We go from Major League Baseball to the NBA Finals and now to the basketball tournament. Red Scare, Carmen's Crew.
Yes, indeed. Ohio State's alumni team, Carmen's Crew, added yet another former Buckeye, Sacramento Kings former big man, Costa Koufos. So over under 3.5 wins for Carmen's Crew in the upcoming TBT.
So they have Caleb Wesson and now Costa Koufos. They're the number 1 seed for a reason. I was very surprised when I forgot about Costa Koufos. I watched him in high school. In fact, he played, at the shot,
Yep.
In the state semifinals that year. I mean, again, it's interesting watching. I love these alumni teams for this. You're watching now Koufos and Caleb Wesson, completely 2 different decades of basketball coming in to watch Caleb Wesson play with William Buford and Aaron Craft and John Diebler. That's pretty cool. I'm excited about that. But man, this is pretty exciting. I love this edition right there. So you said the over/under 3.5 wins in the TBT for Carmen's Crew. Now the reason that 3.5 wins is significant, of course, is you win 3 games at the Covelli Center in Columbus. That punches your ticket to the championship week at UD Arena, July 31st through August 3rd. July 31st would be a quarterfinal matchup, which would just so happen to be a quarterfinal showdown with the Red Scare at UD Arena. I can't imagine, okay? I can't imagine watching Carmen's Crew against Red Scare, and people can mock this tournament all you want. All you got to do is just go find highlights from these TBT crowds on hand and tell me that this isn't a big deal. This isn't a Y pickup game, okay?
Right.
This is like a legitimate tournament that has built. I mean, how long is it? 2014? How long has this been going on?
I can find out.
It's built itself. The bottom line is this is like a legitimate tournament now to where it is absolute must see, especially if you are a fan of a team that is fortunate to build these alumni teams. I love the Carmen's Crew roster. I love the Red Scare roster. It's pretty cool getting to see some of these guys who played together in college get a chance to reunite on the hardwood once again, or getting guys who all played at UD but also get to reunite and who never really played together in college but wore the same jersey, of course. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Over under 3.5 wins in the TBT for Carmen's Crew. So if I say over, that means that I am picking Carmen's Crew to beat Red Scare in the quarterfinals at UD Arena. Look, this isn't disrespectful to UD at all, but they have Caleb Wesson with Costa Koufos now.
Yeah.
All right. And they have that along with Aaron Craft and John Diebler and William Buford. Like, this team is legitimate. The Red Scare is legitimate. But I think they have to find somebody. I mean, Kendall Pollard, I love Kendall Pollard. I love Deshaun Pierre. I love Kyle Davis. And I love that roster that they have. But they need to add something. I don't know if the Red Scare's done adding to their roster, but I hope that they look at this and say, okay, now we got to go. Chris Wright, what are you doing, man? Come on. Let's get Chris Wright. Come on, somebody. Brian Roberts, come on. They need to counter this move with a huge move of their own. And I'm telling you, I can't wait for this. I'm going to say, unfortunately, the over for now. Before this, I would have said under. I would have taken Carmen's Crew's roster over this one, even with the addition of Caleb Wesson. I thought that made them interesting. But I saw Diebler look a little old last year.
Yeah.
I saw Kraft look a little old last year, and he's balding. Him and I are the same age. He's balding. I have enough hair that I can slick it to the side now. Everyone's like,
you never all fancy with the part.
At this point, I'm watching a lot of my friends lose their hair, and I'm like, I'm going to show it off. I'm going to put a hard part in there, and I'm going to slick it to the side. Look good, play good, baby. But no, for right now, this isn't an anti-UD thing, so calm down, people. Right now, as constructed with this roster, I'm going to say the over 3.5 wins. That win over the Red Scare in the quarterfinals would punch their ticket to the Final Four in that, so I'm going to say the over for now. But Add Chris Wright, add a Brian Roberts, add both, but add one of those two. I will then take Red Scare over Carmen's Crew, but I'm going to take the over for right now. And don't you leave me on the island over here because, I know what you're about to do. What you got?
TBT was founded in 2014.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the over.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the over.
I thought you were going to leave me,
That team is loaded, man. That team is loaded. They have a lot of veteran leadership and everything like that. And now, you're putting more big men on the floor. And not only just big men, but big men that can shoot that 15-footer jumper. Back when Odin was on the team, kind of like clawed the lane. But when Jared Sullinger was out there, it opened things up. It opened things up for William Buford to post up on the block, David Lighty to post on the block and draw the lane, everything like that. So, you got two more big men on the team, but they got a young big man. I think Caleb Weston was just in school, this past season. So, he's got the young legs and all those type of things. So, I'm going to roll with Carmen's Crew with the over.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind too, Caleb Weston, he drove a lot of people nuts, but he could shoot the three.
Yes.
And I feel like he would get on people's nerves on this Carmen's Crew team if he just stood out there. But now he can't.
Right.
He can stand out there and shoot three. I mean, those two on the floor at the same time, Kufis and him. Holy smokes. I don't know how many of you remember Kufis, but Kufis actually, he was, I believe, the center on the NIT championship team. And I remember, he got drafted. I think he went to Utah, right? He played in the NBA for a while.
And then he went to the Kings where he had a good run with the Kings.
So I remember that Buckeye team had Jamar Butler, had John Diebler, had Kufis. I mean, it was a very good team that, Thad Matta had in the NIT that year. And I remember they hosted a game. Actually, that was the year they beat Dayton in the NIT. They beat Dayton at the Shot, and then they played Cal the very next game. What's the other arena they have in Columbus? The one I already forgot, St. John's.
St. John's.
So then they played California at St. John's, and they won that one, of course, and that was the quarterfinal to get to New York or whatever for the NIT. So, but I remember he was the reason that they made that run. They went on that huge run because of Costa Kufis, and I was like, well, we were talking about him coming back next year. He played himself right into the NBA with that NIT run that they made. So, anyways,
on to the 23rd pick, yeah, in the 2008 draft.
So, on to number 4, we go from Major League Baseball to the NBA Finals. It's a little TBT action, and now we head to the world of the UFC.
Oh yes, Ultimate Fighting Championship. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor 3 is Saturday night. Conor won their first fight with a knockout in the first round. Dustin won their second fight, which was in January, and the second round with a TKO. So under or over, this fight lasting 2 rounds.
I'm gonna take the over. Look, I thought that I didn't like Conor McGregor the last time these two played. Remember when we had who do we have on? DC. Yep. When we had him on, I asked him, I said, I'm not a fan of this hugging the guy after. Like I said, what makes Conor McGregor is that he's obnoxiously arrogant and that he's not a nice guy. That's never been his persona, I guess. Not that he has to be a mean guy. I didn't like that in him. I felt like by him trying to be the good guy, the nice guy, he lost a little of his fight. I remember when we had DC on, he said the same thing. Like, no, that if the old Conor McGregor returns, that old personality returns, that's going to give him the best opportunity to be that bad man moving forward. And we're seeing it. Have you watched these press conferences? Mm-hmm. I mean, he said he's going to kill him. Mm-hmm. He's going longer than 2. I'm going to take the over on this. I did not enjoy, if we're going to talk, use wrestling terms here, I don't enjoy watching guys that are really good heels try to be baby faces, try to be the good guys. Some guys, It just doesn't work. It's uncomfortable. There's just natural badasses that are just very good at being unlikable and being the heel. That's Conor McGregor. I didn't enjoy seeing him be the sportsmanship award winner that he was last time after the loss, hugging him and all this. No, none of that. He's back to talking smack. He's back to his old self. So I'm going to take the over on this. I can't wait. Can't wait to watch this coming up weekend.
I'm going with the under. Conor's getting knocked out in the first round.
Ow!
Yeah. Look, man.
I like your confidence, but you just came in hot.
This is not, look, man, watch his last couple fights, man. I'm not going to say he's lost his hunger or anything like that, but let's be real, man. He hasn't been the same fighter since he got that big payday with Floyd Money Mayweather. He hasn't. And that's the fact of the matter. I probably wouldn't be either after I got that big bag. Now you just cashed another big bag in January. Now you're about to catch another huge bag now. You don't need to do this anymore. And there comes a point in a lot of fighters' life where they realize, you know what? Getting punched in the face and for what? Like, I already made my money. I already am a champion. Like, I'm out of here. Oh, you going to offer me some more money? Fine, I'll take it. You going to give it to me? I'll do it. But I don't see that hunger from Conor anymore. I think all this talk that he's doing, he's trying to hype himself up and hype sell the fight because he's one of the best at selling fights and everything like that. But I don't see it. I see Dustin Poirier knocking him out in the first round. I think this is going to be an early night, even though these fights don't come on till like 12:45 a.m.
If he loses this, I think he's done.
And there ain't no harm in that. Let's be clear. He can beat both of us up.
Speak for yourself. The reason I say he's done after this is to your point right now. Like, I think that this is his one last swing at trying to be the badass and following it up with a victory. And I think he's capable of doing it.
Can you do the walk?
No. It's when you're fat, you don't like to put your chest out and let your beer belly kind of be poked out there. It's all about sucking it in. But when it comes to him at Conor McGregor at this point, if he loses this weekend, I think he's done because of what you just talked about. That big payday he got with that little whatever it was that he had with Mayweather. But he just watched Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul fleece.
Yep.
Me, you, and I don't know if you paid for it, but me, you, everyone that paid for it. If you paid for it, I'm admitting I paid for it. So if you paid for it, you got fleeced. And Mayweather, who I didn't like before, I hate even more now when he said that, he basically admitted that it was all a throw. That it was basically, he knew exactly what he was doing. Logan Paul knew what he was doing. That there was no, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fan of that. But right. McGregor's watching that. McGregor's watching these weird little exhibition matches that are going on there. We could end up seeing Mike Tyson against Conor McGregor or something stupid like that, right? Like, we'll see that most likely. We'll see something crazy like that. If he loses this weekend, I think he'll just say, you know what? It's not worth it. Me get my face beat in. I can go make 3 times the amount of money as I'm going to make this weekend to go do just basically these little show fights and count my dollars and move on. But if he wins this weekend, I think he'll get that competitive juice back and keep going. But I know WWE wants him bad. Yep. He'd get a sick amount of money to go basically just talk smack in WWE and maybe be a part of some little gimmick fight there. He can go do those little charity or those exhibition fights and fight Mayweather again, fight one of the Paul brothers, fight whoever. Fight Bobby Carpenter. Remember Bobby Carpenter? Yep. That was funny as hell that day we had him on. But no, I'm excited for this fight this weekend. But I do think that if he loses, this could be it for Conor McGregor as far as the serious fighting moving forward.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I just think that he ain't got the hunger no more. And
I'm taking the
arm in it. Oh, well, I'm on the opposite of you. I got him getting KO'd quickly, very quickly.
All right, then last but not least, I added this one. I could leave this one.
I didn't even see this one. Go for it.
So LSU athletics, and this is pretty key right here. It's pretty interesting. So we talked about when it comes to name, image, and likeness, that athletes, you're not going to be able to be a Buckeye and have be at the Woody Hayes Center and holding some kind of Subway sandwich and saying, I'm Trayvon Henderson telling you to get to Subway after the big football game and blah, 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 blah. That's a horrible endorsement, by the way, but that's why Subway hasn't called me. But that's not allowed. They're not allowed to do anything at the Woody Hayes Center. I mean, they want to make money off their name, image, and likeness. Well, we'll see how much value your name has without our brand, right?
Right.
Well, LSU is doing something a little different. LSU is allowing their players to use team facilities and their trademarks in marketing deals. OSU and many other high-profile programs are not. So over under, Kev, 1.5 seasons before we see Ohio State change their policy on not allowing players to use the school logo or likeness at all in any name, image, and likeness deals.
The cynic in me wants to say under. The cynic in me wants to say they'll change it by September. But me knowing Ohio State the way I do, there's a lot of egos involved. So they won't change it until they absolutely have to. So it's going to take a situation like Clemson, Alabama, and Ohio State being, I don't know, for goodness sakes, have the 7th recruiting class.
Hold up real quick. We're getting this. So Matt on YouTube, he doesn't have a last name, so I can't give him a full shout out. I don't mean to interrupt you, but he says OSU has already changed. I'm going to take the under.
Are you serious?
I don't have this confirmed. This is just some guy named Matt with no last name on YouTube, but I'm going to give him the credit for this. He says OSU has already changed their rules to match LSU as long as the players get permission from the school first. Matt, Thank you for that. I had not seen that. It was Bobby Carpenter who tweeted this out earlier. Him and I were talking about it earlier today. I had not found that. So I appreciate you chiming in here. We're going to confirm that. I'm not saying we don't believe you, but I would like to confirm that. But I did find that interesting because we kind of know that that's going to be the case. That's why when you see Chris Paul in these State Farm commercials, you never see him wearing a Houston Rockets jersey or a Phoenix Suns jersey. Like, it's just the State Farm, stuff, right? The one thing I found out that's interesting, I was listening to Talking Out Loud, Sully's podcast. He's started releasing new episodes, which make sure you subscribe to his podcast, by the way. Best Dayton Flyers podcast out there. They were talking about how at Arkansas is not even allowing the players to wear what's a maroon. Maroon is the color. Yeah. They're not even and again, the players, they signed the deals. They're not allowed to even wear maroon in these commercials or anything like that.
Well, Arkansas is irrelevant. They'll be even more irrelevant. Plain and simple. They're going to be squashed like a bug. They're done for. They'll have no one. They'll have me and you playing for them.
People are probably like, why does that matter about maroon? Because how you get around it is a lot of times you will see players in commercials where they won't be wearing their team jersey, but they might be wearing, they might be fully suited up in football pads, and it might be an all maroon jersey with just no Arkansas on it. It would just be the white numbers or something like that. Mm-hmm. But no, you look at Alabama's jerseys, who are they're as plain Jane as can be. They're another one that I read today is saying, you can't use this exact color, but there are shades of the color that you can use. I see both sides to this. I get why schools are being a little bit protective of their brand, but I also see why LSU is saying, hey, you're an extension of us. Yes. You're only promoting us. So yes. I see both sides. But before Matt came in with this, and we have to confirm it, Matt, but I do appreciate you chiming in. So thank you. Before I got that, I also understood why Ohio State was being protective of their brand as well, because that's how they're cutthroat.
They sued their alumni team.
Carmen's crew used to be Scarlet and Gray.
Yep.
Ohio State has that trademarked, and of course, when they threatened to sue their own, John Diebler, William Buford, Aaron freaking Kraft. I mean, they were threatening to
Final Fours and made you millions.
Yeah. And they weren't allowed. They couldn't use Scarlet and Gray. They had to change to Carmen's crew. So, interestingly enough, I always find that interesting.
So I'll pretend like we didn't get that information. I'll say over. I'll say at 2 years, the moment Ohio State has the number 8 recruiting class in the country, they'll change it. The moment that happens, they'll be like, no, can't happen. Can't do it. We got to get with everybody else. We got to get with the Joneses. So I'm going to go with the over. So I say it'll be about 2 years.
2 years. And it's going to take. But see, if you're smart, why wait? Why risk losing a big time recruit? But again, Ohio State gets so many big name recruits that they might look at it and say, okay, it would be unfortunate if we lost a big name recruit like that. But it is what it is. We're sticking to our guns here. I mean, they do stick to their guns. They don't mess around. Right. I mean, their flagship station. They go after them if there's any kind of deal that's being done. We have very detailed, printed, restrictions on what we can sell as far as, using any kind of Ohio State stuff. Like there's certain phrases we can't use. So I just find that very interesting. And by the way, that's good business. I'm not ripping Ohio State for that. So I'm just saying that's good business. The Dayton Flyers probably have the same type of verbiage with their flagship station in the WHIO or whatever. It doesn't surprise me. It is what it is. I'm not really ripping any of the schools for doing that, but at the same time, I also applaud the schools who are looking at Ohio State, Bama, and others who are being very restricted with theirs and saying, hell no, be in that car commercial, be sporting the LSU t-shirt, be wearing this LSU gear.
I'm not sure if this is what he was talking about, but I did come across something on 11 Warriors. Athletes must pay to use OSU facilities. Those rental rates are not cheap. A half a day for an indoor facility at the Woody Center could cost $2,500. A full day, $4,500. So, okay. Okay. Yes.
Trademark
usage must be approved. Like I said, I'm just skimming through this.
No, you're fine.
Some stuff.
But either way, I tell you what, look at that.
Yeah.
We'll follow up with that on the other side. Again, we're live on Facebook, live at YouTube. Matt, thank you again for that. I really appreciate it. Matt, or the Wolf on YouTube says, schools want to protect their brand. Think of the advertising dollars they receive. Holy moly, seriously. I understand from the business standpoint. Well, look, I'm telling you, though.
Embrace it.
Ohio State's kind of smart with this a little bit, too, because I think Ohio State knows what we all want, what we all know, but we don't want to. We're all about athletes with the name, image, and likeness. I am too. But it's like what I've been saying. I think these schools even know you could be a 5-star. Your talent only gets us so far for a 4-year window. You're nothing without us. You're nothing, especially football. Football, that's the big money makers, but they also don't have really any options. Basketball, they have options, but even then, some of the top recruits out there right now, their brand is better in college with solidified brands than it is going to the G League, who everyone kind of looks at that as, oh, that's like minor league baseball. We're not going to put stock into that.
Right, here we go. In order to use Ohio State trademark services, logos, symbols, or other intellectual properties of the university during the NOI activities, athletes will be required to obtain a written permission from the Ohio State University Trademark Office.
All right. Interestingly enough. And again, that's smart of Ohio State to readjust it, because basically what they're saying is, yeah, you can use it for a little fee. And the athletes then got to ask themselves, well, if I'm only going to get $3,000 to do this and the school wants $2,500 of it to use the likeness thing, I mean, is the $500 really worth it for me to do it at that point? So good for Ohio. Again, Ohio State's all about sure, you can use it. Yeah. For
business.
Yeah.
It's not business. This is business.
That's how rich people squeeze you out in court, by the way.
Facts.
Do you have enough money to outrun us in a court hearing? No, you do not. So there you go.
Big business.
Good stuff. We'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 78. Tonight will also be partly cloudy, a low near 63. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 78. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane, making buying propane easy since 1952, offering budget billing and pre-buy options. Find out more at culletpropane.com.
Enjoy a powerful business upgrade with Dell Technologies Black Friday and July event. Get amazing savings with up to 50% off high-performance computers and tech built for business, and be able to take your office with you with Windows 10 Pro. Plus, get great offers on Dell servers, monitors, docks, and more, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Call 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL, and speak to a Dell Technologies advisor today.
Over the last year and a half, we all learned some hard lessons. One of the most important is that you can't put off the inevitable. Hi, this is Mark Davis at Dayton Memorial Park Cemetery and Mausoleums. No matter how hard it is to think about, we all need a final resting place. When pre-planning with your funeral home, please remember that cemetery arrangements must also be made. Call us today at 937-890-1831 or visit our website at DaytonMemorialPark.com. And remember, Dayton Memorial Park is a beautiful place to celebrate life.
Lisa and payroll, hello?
Lisa? Hi, it's Jim at the home office. Any particular reason why your mailroom clerk makes $2.7 million a year?
Well, he's really good, you know.
Is it time to update your payroll network? Call the certified professionals at Arrowhead Tax Accounting and Payroll Services in New Carlisle at 937-543-5770. Arrowhead Tax Accounting and Payroll Services. Our target is your satisfaction.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Okay. Research shows that people remember radio ads with repetition. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need, here's a repetitive ad. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed. For the knights in shining armor. And for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call clickgrainger.com/safety or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What makes the perfect workout? Being able to ride, lift, and stretch in one place with motivating instructors.
Y'all look so good out there, Peloton.
Classes that always work around your busy summer schedule.
Push Peloton, you got 20 minutes of opportunity on this ride.
Instructor-curated playlists for every mood.
Let's turn it up. Come on.
Now what if you had it all? Right at home. The Peloton Bike. Nothing like working out from home. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up? We'll help you find everything you need. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Valvoline Max Life high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $28.99. And if you're an AutoZone Rewards member, you'll also get a $5 bonus reward. Get what you need fast and get the job done easier.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Hey, everybody. Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. In fact, over 1 million homeowners took advantage of refinancing or buying a new home with Rocket Mortgage. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase again, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. With an official mortgage review from Rocket Mortgage, you'll see just how much money you could save by making a move right now. Don't look back over these next few weeks and wish that you had taken action. You could save hundreds on your mortgage payments or pay off your home loan earlier than planned. You could even take cash out of your home to pay off high interest debt, complete home repairs, or bulk up on an emergency fund. When you want to secure a low rate, Rocket can. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com. Rocket.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Whether it's next day delivery or getting involved in their local communities, Napa goes above and beyond to serve you because their motor never quits. That's Napa know-how.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Talked about the Dustin Poirier and the Conor McGregor fight, the trilogy, of course, that was coming up this weekend. It's interesting because there's another trilogy fight that we were looking forward to coming up here at the end of this month. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, that fight has been postponed after it was reported that there was a breakout of COVID. There was a COVID breakout within the Tyson Fury camp, and of those multiple individuals who tested positive for COVID-19, it has been reported that Tyson Fury is one of those. So again, the fight that was scheduled for July 24th on Saturday has now been postponed, and they are still looking to get this fight in at some point this year.
Yeah, October is what I heard.
So like July was, I mean, I was looking forward to this fight coming up on Saturday with Conor McGregor. I couldn't wait to watch that boxing fight, of course, at the end of the month. But I've been looking forward to this fight since early 2020, because that was one of the last big sporting events before the world shut down due to COVID. So with that being said, I'm really bummed about that. But nonetheless, at least they have said that they will try to get this postponed for this year at some point. whatever that means. You only have 6 months left. Get it together.
Yeah, man, that's something that everybody's been looking forward to for a long time. You know, fans of Deontay Wilder want to see if Deontay actually learned how to use a jab, or is he just going to be a one-punch guy again, or continue to be a one-punch guy? And then I know, Anthony Joshua is waiting for the winner of this fight. Like, he's in London just licking his chops, like waiting for his huge payday because he gets to fight the winner of that fight. So not only is this fight postponed, the Anthony Joshua versus the winner of that fight is postponed as well. So it's like a waiting game now for a huge fight. And, in boxing, fights like this don't come around every day, especially like with heavyweights and everything like that. Heavyweights bring out the casual fan because of the knockout power and everything like that. So it sucks that we're going to get it postponed until potentially October. But all in all, we just hoping well for everybody dealing with COVID and everything like that. Hopefully he's able to recover, train for the fight, and put on a great show for everybody in October.
So we'll transition to another topic here. I found this interesting again, is the backlash from U.S. sprinter Sha'Carri Richardson not participating in this year's Olympics due to her suspension, still picking up steam. Again, U.S. anti-doping agency leaders are pushing to further mitigate harsh consequences for marijuana if it's not intentionally used to enhance performance. My thing is how does marijuana enhance performance at all? I mean, has anyone said, man, I need to run faster, give me some weed?
Right.
If anything, it's trying to get you to kind of move slower, right? Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, I would assume that everything moves slower. I would assume that I would, think slower, and I would assume, I would guess that I would be hungry. That I don't think being hungry is good for trying to get in shape, right? Like you want, But anyways, nonetheless, again, this is continuing to make its rounds in a lot of the conversation. I know Keith Byers and I talked about it on his show the other day. And I know people are just frustrated in general. Like something as little as this is keeping her from participating at such a high level. Of course, talking about the Olympics. And, you get the crowd of, well, just follow the rules. If you just followed the rules, you'd be fine. And I don't like using that term lightly, or that phrase lightly, as if like we're not allowed to use it. I think that there's a lot of merit to that. I mean, just don't smoke weed. You don't fail drug tests, and we all move on and live happily ever after. But Keith Byers' take that we talked about the other day was, you made the rules. You could change the rules. We've seen rules changed. I mean, again, I'm not going to use Ohio State, the rule for them being changed in the middle of a college football playoff season as this, but it was changed for all the same reasons that this could have been changed, from money reasons to competitive reasons and everything like that. But again, this is an interesting article on ESPN.com saying that it is worth noting that when marijuana was included in the first prohibited list in 2004, one of the strongest advocates for inclusion of marijuana on the prohibited list was the U.S. government. So, they're going back and forth, and they're actually saying that she could have appealed, like even though she accepted the 30-day ban, that had she tried to appeal it, it actually could have opened the door to her being suspended longer.
Right.
So, there's a lot of interesting things on here. People are furious that why are we suspending her if it's something that, of course, is not enhancing any of her abilities to give her any kind of athletic advantage. That's clearly not what this is. At the end of the day, they say you can't use it. They're going to test for it. If you fail it, you're out. We all know those things. But my thing is this: why are we beating up? I mean, is it really that bad of a thing that the Team USA doesn't want their athletes on smoking weed? Is it really that crazy? I mean, are we really that angry at the USA Olympics team for and it's not even technically just them, but like, are we really that mad? Is it really that crazy that they're basically coming out and saying, yeah, we kind of don't want our athletes smoking weed? Why is that big a deal? If your son or daughter is about to participate in a state championship game and they fail a drug test for whatever, something comes out that they're doing drugs, are you going to say, oh, come on, it's just there will be some out there that say it. But at the same time, is it that crazy that your high schools would say, hey, we don't want our athletes or our students smoking weed? Oh, well, what about the 18-year-olds? They could smoke cigarettes, right? Like, so why can't they smoke marijuana, right? I don't get it. If your kid was to come home and say that your teacher smokes weed all the time, would you love the fact that your teacher is smoking weed? It's not a big deal, right? Like, that's what you parents are saying about this situation, that it's a big time overreaction. So you found out that your teacher, that your kid's teacher is always smoking weed. You see him out on the weekends and he's out smoking weed. He's out getting high. Are you going to say, oh, look at him having fun. Oh, look at him just enjoying his freedom? No, You wouldn't. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I understand the reasoning, the coping, everything that was going on with this, but I'm just continuing to follow the reaction to this. And at the end of the day, I'm just really baffled as to why we are trying to vilify the Olympics for basically saying, yeah, we kind of just don't want our athletes smoking weed. I really don't think it's that crazy of anyone to ever say that at all, even if you are pro-ganj or anti-ganj. So
I think what most people are doing, well, I can't say most people, the people in my circle are more frustrated with is the hypocrisy. And I know you're a fan of pointing out hypocrisy. You know, you have this runner, Shelby Hyben. I'm butchering her last name. I'm sorry. But she tested positive for steroids. She said she ate a pork burrito and they said, cool.
A what?
Yeah. Go Google it.
No, hold on. Repeat it.
She ate a pork burrito and tested positive for steroids. And she appealed it, and she's going to be able to run the Olympics. And then
because she appealed it, she never accepted the suspension.
Right. But like steroids. And then, you know, a lot of people are casual fans. People aren't, you know, following what happens with the Olympics and the Olympic committees in the U.S. and how corrupt the Olympic Games are, you know, they accept bribes and everything like that. Or, you know, you look at watch the Lance Armstrong documentary on ESPN, the 30 for 30, like he failed multiple drug tests and steroids tests, and people just brush it under the rug because he was Lance Armstrong and everything like that. So as the casual fan, they're seeing all these other things happen in sports and things get brushed under the rug. They're seeing LeBron James go to a party without a mask on with Drake and Michael B. Jordan and still be able to play in the playoffs while someone else is getting suspended or shut down for weeks at a time. Like just people just coming out of the woodwork with like, well, why is it okay there? Well, is it okay here? Well, what about this? What about this? It just becomes a finger pointing contest at some point. At the end of the day, credit goes to Sha'Carri for just saying, fine, I'm shut down until the Paris Olympics. She's not the one coming out. We haven't heard from her since her interview on Today. Yep. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is all the talking heads and other athletes and other people in general speaking up and speaking their mind. You know, for better or worse, she has accepted the penalty and is going to, you know, just continue to train and get ready for the Olympics in 3 years and everything like that. You know, never mind the fact that, you know, she was left off of the 4x100 team and everything like that, which she was eligible for and everything like that. So, you know, it's just like, and then you throw on the thing about the female swimmers and the Speedo caps and everything like that. It's just like seeming like, man, what is going on here? What's
the Speedo cap one?
So for women who wear their hair natural, when you get into those chemical induced waters and pools and everything like that, hair breakage and everything like that. So it was a African-American owned company who came up with a swim cap, which was larger for large hair. And they denounced it. They said, no, that's illegal. And it was approved. Like it got like approval from Speedo, you know, the Speedo company and everything like that. They said like it meets like standards and everything like that. And people are just open arms about it. It's like, you know, people, especially female athletes, go through so much to compete in these games. Like not only, you know, setting their body clocks to a different clock than it's normally at. Don't want to get like graphic or anything like that, but they do those type of things to compete. And then you have female athletes, you know, when you involved in sports, you sweat. You know, just because me and you go out there and play a game of basketball, jump in the shower, rinse our hair out, we're perfectly fine because we don't have any hair compared to women and everything like that. You get hair breakage, everything like that. You know, if you remember back when Gabby Douglas was in the Olympics, she was ridiculed for the way her hair looked. Well, her hair looked that way because she's doing 50 backflips and sweating her hair out. And that's why her hair looks a certain way. So when you put a woman in those chlorine infested pools, their hair is going to be jacked up. So they came up with this swim cap to alleviate some of those issues for those women. And people are just like, what's going on here? Like, how come every time an invention comes, there's a back push? Like I remember a couple years ago they had a hijab. That's a head wrap for people that practice certain religions and everything like that. At first, the Olympic Games, the committee said, no, you can't wear that. Nike threw a check mark on it. It's approved. So it's like those small things that turn into big things. Like, oh, it's okay because Nike threw a check mark on there.
Is it a contract? Is it like
it was a non-logo?
That's what I'm curious about. Okay,
it was a non-logo.
So it wasn't like they had a Nike deal, and because the Nike deal,
it was a non-logo situation. But certain religions, women wrap their hair and they don't show their hair and everything like that. But it was a modified version. It wasn't like the cloth. It was like kind of like a synthetic type of material that would like form fit so it wouldn't fall off as you're running or as you're competing and everything like that. The Olympic Committee said, nope, you got to wear what you've regularly been wearing. Nike came to the table, helped that company out, threw a Nike logo on it, gave it a thumbs up. So it's those things like that people find a problem with the Olympic Games. Like, this is supposed to be about pride of country and everything like that. No, it's not. It's about that money. It's about that money. Everything's always about the money, man. If Nike would have done something like that with those swim caps, they would have been approved. If Nike would have barked loud enough because they are a partner of this, they would have been in there because it's always about the money.
Well, and with that being said, if it was about the money, with those situations, I'm putting that to the side as far I'm isolating this with Sha'Carri Richardson. If it was about the money, she would be running though, right?
No, because the thing about it is nobody really knows who she was until she just qualified for the Olympics. Like, at least I don't know anybody out there that like follows like track and field weekly. You know what I mean?
You don't get track and field weekly in the mail every month?
Like people tune into track and field every 4 years. That's when the general public tunes in to track and field. When I say it's all about the money, it's all about your media partners and the people that are sponsoring this, because the Olympics is going to do crazy numbers no matter who's competing, because we all have this sense of pride for country, and people check into the Olympics. They're going to watch it regardless. Like the Olympics is going to do crazy numbers in viewers. It's going to do crazy. Yeah, it would have been cool to see her, but it's still going to do the exact same numbers as it was before.
Yeah, and like and everyone out there that she should have been. I have no issue either with the with Team USA coming out, even with her being eligible to run that second race. They're put that to the side too. I mean, they're picking the runners that they did follow the rules. They've gone through everything. Like, so it's when people right away start doing the whole, well, she should be running. She should be. Well, then who are you cutting? Because if you're not going to run her, if she's going to run, that means you have to have someone else that you choose not to let run, someone else who passed all their drug tests, someone else who did everything that they were supposed to get to this point. And it's constantly putting her in position to be bashed here. So that's really not what I'm trying to do. But the bottom line is she's accepting the consequences for her actions at this point. But it's amazing to me the people who are just swarming to make this a thing that I don't think that it actually is when it comes to she should be racing. Well, why? She broke a rule. I mean, that rule's in place for a reason. And I always say, and I know everyone's tired of hearing it, just because you find a rule stupid doesn't mean you get the green light to break the rule because you find it dumb. So there's that. But I
want people to keep that same energy when Jamaica smoke us in the 100. Like if Jamaica wins the gold, silver, and bronze, people are going to be thinking like, man, maybe we should have let her run. Like people are going to change their tunes real quick. So. Right. I mean, for better or worse, she has accepted the penalty, and good luck to her to qualify for the games in Paris in 3 years.
It's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, with you here on a Friday, 1410 Wing AM. Jake Whiting says Jamaica smoking us regardless. I'll see. Sha'Carri smoking, Jamaica smoking, everyone's smoking. So there you go. We'll be back. Hour 2 next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I struggled with symptoms like frequent gas and stomach pain for years.
I was bloated all the time with daily diarrhea.
At first, I thought it was what I was eating.
I kept thinking it was stomach issues.
So I did my research and talked to my doctor, and we finally uncovered the truth.
It was actually EPI. Exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, is a condition where your pancreas is unable to help break down your food.
It can lead to symptoms like diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools.
And EPI symptoms can be confused with those of other common digestive conditions, like irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, and celiac disease.
So getting to the right diagnosis meant being more open with my doctor about the severity of my symptoms and how often they were happening.
But there's good news. EPI is manageable, so don't wait any longer. Use the symptom checker at identifyepi.com and schedule a visit or call with your doctor to ask, could I have EPI?
Sponsored by AbbVie.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Having some starting trouble? We can help you out. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a charge, we can help with that too. And if you need a new battery, we've got a wide selection of replacement batteries starting at just $79.99. And we're the only place you can find proven tough Duralast batteries, including Duralast Platinum with AGM and EFB technology. That's why we're America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2020.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
It's time for some straight talk. We've all been there. You have some real work to do, but the free Wi-Fi where you're working isn't going to cut it. It's like leaving the winning runner stranded on third base. Not good. Well, now you can be your own hotspot with Straight Talk's Ultimate Unlimited plan. Get 10 gigs of hotspot data for just $55 a month. All on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Compatible device required. See straighttalk.com. Goodyear knows the importance of keeping momentum as you head down the stretch. Momentum starts with movement. It's pulled from the air like a contested rebound. Momentum builds with steals and fast breaks, and is proven by deep threes as the shot clock expires. Momentum is how we change the game, and now it's time to discover where it can take us. Goodyear, more driven.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
At Napa, when it comes to serving you, our motor never quits. And when it comes to getting you the part you need when you need it, with next day delivery or same day pickup, our motor never quits. And when it comes to making a difference in our local communities by hosting fundraisers and food drives, our motor never quits. And when it comes to telling you our motor never quits, yep, you guessed it. Our motor never quits. That's Napa know-how. Same day pickup and next day delivery available at participating stores and on in-stock items only.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Life hacks. What would life be without them? Like using candle wax to loosen a stuck zipper. Here's another life hack. Now you can get the same high-quality insurance from Allstate, but at a new low rate. With Allstate, you can lower your rates, not your expectations. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Not available in every state. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Audible delivers everything you love listening to all in one app. Stream the newest releases, bestsellers, Audible originals, popular podcasts, and more. Start listening free with a 30-day trial at audible.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com. We're live. We're local. We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, hour 2. Welcome back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Friday. I hope everyone has some fun plans lined up for the weekend. July 9th, we come back on Monday. It's basically mid-July. Hall of Fame game, by the way. Steelers-Cowboys, August 5th. So we're less than a month away from that. I mean, unbelievable. Let's say the 9th. So 10 days, 11 days from now, we could officially say that the first high school football game of the season is a month away. I mean, we're 6 weeks away from the first game of high school football. So unbelievable. We were talking about Sha'Carri Richardson to close out that first hour. Lamar Shelley on Facebook says, Lamar Shelley's on Facebook, by the way. Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Listen, stream, watch, listen at 1410 Wing AM. Stream us at wingam.com. And, of course, you can watch us on Facebook. Search The Justin Kinner Show. Like, subscribe, follow along there. Or subscribe to ESPN Dayton's YouTube channel, where you can watch us live as well, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6, and be a part of the show, jumping on the conversation. Lamar Shelley is doing so through Facebook. He says someone else that lost, because I asked the question, okay, well, you know, everyone says that she should be running. Well, again, for her to be running, you have to replace somebody, and the somebody that she would replace is somebody that followed the rules, that did not smoke weed, that did not fail a drug test, that type of thing. Lamar Shelley says someone else that lost should run because she broke an American rule. Come on, man. I bet Jamaica wouldn't kick Usain Bolt off for weed. Be competitive, not high and mighty. Be competitive, not high and mighty. Well, if Richardson wasn't high, she would be mighty. She would be running. I mean, I don't understand. And I don't want to hear. I've heard that a lot. Well, I bet Jamaica wouldn't have kicked Usain Bolt off. And that's okay. You're fine with that. I think as Americans, you would be pissed off if you found out that Usain Bolt fails a drug test and they let him run anyways. Wouldn't you be angry? Like, what? Don't be all high and mighty. Just don't be high and you're fine. How about that? I don't get it. That's not an American rule to begin with, by the way. It's so it is what it is. But the bottom line is I don't want to hear, oh, well, Jamaica wouldn't have done that with Usain Bolt. Maybe they would have. Maybe they wouldn't have. But just because if they would have, it doesn't make it okay here. Again, if that's the case, why have rules? Hey, they say you can't do drugs, but, you know, whatever. We got to win this damn race. You know how much money's on the line? Oh, you know, domestic violence. Who cares? Oh, go hit whoever you want. Who cares? Rules are just, we can, whatever. We'll ignore them. What? DUIs, drink and drive, whatever. Who cares? Do whatever you want. We got a race to run. We got to win tomorrow. Don't be all high and mighty. Like I said, don't be high. Everything's fine.
You on one today.
I mean, be high, but if you break the rule for being high, whatever. High school kids, don't be high. Don't do drugs. Remember that Dare song? D, I won't do drugs.
Oh, goodness.
A, won't have an attitude. R, will respect myself. E, I will educate. I think it's me or something. And then they go, now. How was that? Look at that. We run a DARE program here on 1410 Wing AM.
I mean, as much drug talk we do on here.
Well, Jake Whiting says it best. Be high on life. Roll life up. Call it a day. get me off this topic because it's just going nowhere. But Lamar, I love you, but no, I can't get on board with that. If Usain Bolt did it, then they'd be okay. No, and if they would have let him do it, they're wrong too. But yeah, the USA team, they're so evil for letting a player or suspending a player for failing a drug test.
But you do see the hypocrisy, though, right? Like,
no, I don't. Not in this situation.
See the hypocrisy of, like, or question marks of saying, okay, this stuff just isn't spelled out correctly.
It is. Don't do drugs.
No,
don't smoke weed. Don't fail a drug test.
I'm saying, like, where there's a ton of rules out there and laws that are constantly changing and constantly, even in our country right now, where in certain states in the union, it's legal, certain states it's not legal. You can buy it here, you can smoke it here, you can't do it there, you can't do it here. Like, there is a ton of room for interpretation. And what the biggest thing I think people have an issue with is, especially like if you live, say, in New York City or in California or something like that, or in Denver, Colorado or something like that, like, it's embraced. And what people are having trouble with is, when are we going to embrace it everywhere? Why is it rules in this state and not in this state? Why is it like this here? Why isn't it like that there? Like, I think that's where people are having trouble, like, comprehending everything like that. They're not understanding why it's not a universal rule yet everywhere. I think that's where people are getting hung up with, like, let's get whatever it's going to be, let it be everywhere. Like, let's not do this whole, like, all right, if you cross this state line, you can do it. If you cross this state line, you can't do it. Like, I think that's where people's hangups are. Like, well, they're just, like, really fed up and confused about, these state to state laws.
Well, those hangups are all fine and mighty, or fine and dandy. But the bottom line is that's a totally separate conversation. Well, I mean, my opinion on that will differ from my opinion on this, but we're not having that conversation about whether marijuana should be legal in every state out there. This is as simple as the rule states, don't do it. It doesn't matter if the state you live in allows you to do it. For the policy of to run it with on the U.S. Olympic team, you can't do it, then you can't do it. You could do it if you want. You could sit at home and smoke weed if you want, if your state allows you to. You can do that. She can do that. She did that. But at the same time, if the Olympic team says, hey, by the way, you cannot smoke weed, and if you fail the drug test, then you cannot run, you'll be suspended, then that's what's going on here. I mean, I agree. Look, at the end of the day, it's a situation where we can have the debate about whether weed should be legal or not. And even if it was legal and the rules still state you cannot smoke it, and if you fail the drug test, you won't run. You broke a rule. That's where we're at. I just don't see the hypocrisy in that, because there's still a lot of jobs, even in states that it is legal. You think that just because a state's going to say, hey, it's legal to smoke weed, that's going to eliminate jobs from still screening for that?
Oh, no, I know they still screen for it.
So that's what I'm saying. How is that different than this situation right here? I know of a company here in Dayton. I remember coming out of college looking for a job right away. There's a company here, which is fine because I don't smoke cigarettes to begin with. But like, if they won't hire you if you smoke cigarettes,
wow.
But what? It's legal. I'm an adult. I can smoke if I want. Well, you could smoke. You can go home. You can smoke. You can go to the bar and smoke. You can sit in your car and smoke. You just can't work here if you smoke. I mean, it's the bottom line. That's kind of what's going on here. I get it. I definitely see what you're saying, but I would actually be on your side on that discussion. Make it simple. I mean, let's talk about this. Is the big debate in the NFL right now. The NFL, they're trying to guilt people into getting the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And basically what they've done is, and it's genius, by the way, it's genius on all professional sports teams to do this, because I literally thought we were going to get to the point where the NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL, to play, you got to get vaccinated. Well, they didn't go that route, but they basically said, "But I tell you what, though, if there's a certain threshold met of team personnel who gets the vaccine, you will be awarded certain freedoms. You won't have to wear the mask. You don't have to social distance. You don't have to go through the COVID protocols." The teams are furious that there's some states that they've lifted everything altogether, but as long as you're not vaccinated, you still have to wear the mask. You still have to socially distance. You still have to go through the COVID protocols. So it's kind of that way here. Well, I play in a state that has lifted, if the Bengals or whatever, hey, the Bengals, Browns, whatever, we don't have to follow that. We don't have any mandates. We don't have a mask mandate. We don't have any restrictions in place. But the NFL says, if our team doesn't meet a certain threshold, we still have to wear masks. We still have to do this. We still have to do that. Major League Baseball is the same thing. So it's the same thing. Like, and we complain about that too. There are those who say it's absolutely stupid that if you play in a state that has lifted all those restrictions, the league should not be forcing you to do that as well. That rule is above the state law or the state rule, right? That's kind of what this is. That's kind of how I view it. It's annoying. I get it. But hey, how much is weed that valuable to you that you would rather have weed than run for the Olympic team? That's basically what you got to ask yourself.
You're right.
So,
like I said, when we first started talking about this, when this story came out, man, it's a lesson to be learned for her and a ton of other athletes. And I don't know how many other athletes need to go through situations like this for people to understand, like, just because the state that you live in or the people you're around are super liberal and you can, live your life how you want to live your life and everything like that, that doesn't mean everybody else is going to be the same way. And there are rules that you gotta abide by. And to her credit, she's not the one out here complaining. It's the everyday person. It's the athletes in sports where you're allowed to smoke marijuana, like the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NBA. Those are the athletes who are complaining more than she is. And they can, because in their sport, you can smoke weed. So it's just a situation. It's just not tested.
Yeah, it's not tested. So, and that's basically what this is coming down to. We're going too deep into the discussion of should it be legal or not, when really it's the conversation should they test for it or not, right? Like the NFL, and I've always used Josh Gordon as an example. We vilify Josh Gordon.
Right.
Oh, man, he just can't stay off the weed. Well, would we look at Josh Gordon? Let's say the NFL, because the NFL doesn't test for weed anymore. So let's say 10 years ago, the NFL stopped testing for weed. Well, Josh Gordon would never have faced one single suspension this entire time. We wouldn't vilify him. We wouldn't look at him as having a problem, right? So that's what I mean by that is, like, it's unfortunate. Like, we literally, everyone looks at Josh Gordon as, oh, man, what could have been? Yeah, what could have been? What could have been? If they didn't test for it, he'd be one of the best receivers in football, probably still today. But they test for it, and then we made him look like this villain, look like this horrible individual, and that's not the case. So that's the same thing. If you stop testing for, it was like, if you don't test for COVID, then there's no positive test. Isn't that the philosophy? What?
At one time it was.
It is what it is. But Bradley Horn on Facebook says a company or organization can have a policy to ban it regardless of its legality. And the other thing, too, it's not a U.S. Olympic rule. I think it's the World Olympic Committee, and in fact,
IOC or
whatever the heck it's called. Jake Whiting, he just wrote that in too. It's their rule on testing. So that comment about Usain Bolt, no, that it wouldn't be his country making the decision whether to let him run or not. He would not be able to, because he failed that drug screen, as far as that goes. So is what it is. We went down a rabbit hole here today with that. Look at that. We're 15 minutes into the second hour. I thought we were just going to wrap that up pretty quickly, but here we are. We talked about the NBA Finals a little bit ago. The Bucks down 0-2. I believe they're going to tie it up, to 2 apiece or whatever and head back. But let's say that they split coming up and the Phoenix Suns, obviously get one of those wins. Let's take a 3-1 lead back to Phoenix. I'm really hoping that we actually see a champion crowned on their home floor this year. You want to know what I hate? We're talking about sports pet peeves when we come back. One of my biggest pet peeves in sports, I hate when you go through an entire season, you battle all season to win a championship, and you win it on the road. We were trying to figure this out. I can't remember the last time an NBA champion was crowned on their home floor. Can you imagine if Toronto, when the Raptors, we saw how crazy that whole entire country went when they won, but they were at Golden State. Hell, they're
as far as you can get away from Toronto.
The team president wasn't even recognized by security and was almost manhandled to the ground because he was trying to go celebrate with his team, right? Like, it's insane. But to me, I'm actually hoping I'm thinking it's going to be even heading back to Phoenix in Game 5, but I'm hoping for a split, for a chance for Phoenix to win it on their home floor. I just want to see a team win it on their home floor. I think that the celebrations are awkward. It's strange. It's weird. It's a dead silent, depressed crowd of the home team watching the away team celebrate. I know there's nothing you could do about it, but I'm just curious people's thoughts on that. And then something else too. For March Madness, do you like the host sites? Would you rather see the home team, the higher seed host? It couldn't happen, but I'm just curious. I mean, it happens for the NIT, I guess, but for certain rounds. But you know what I mean? We'll discuss that on the other side. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine, when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 78. Tonight will also be partly cloudy, a low near 63. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 78. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
BC Powder knows life pushes us to the max, work to the max, family to the max. That can mean pain to the max. So try BC Max Strength. BC Max relieves tough pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. BC Max in a great tasting lemonade flavor. And now max out your summer fun with a $5 gift card when you purchase BC Max. Terms and conditions at bcpowder.com.
Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6, leaving the light on for families back on the road. Kids in suitcases jammed in the back, earbuds tangled in the dog, heading to see Aunt Jasmine and her rock garden. Admit it, you missed this. And Motel 6 has been missing you. With our clean, comfortable rooms and great low rates, we've been giving families on the move the perfect roadside rest for almost as long as Aunt Jasmine's been putting rocks in her yard. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Many Vietnam War veterans were unknowingly exposed to dangerous chemicals impacting their health and quality of life. There are now expanded benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange. Veterans with Parkinsonism, bladder cancer, or hypothyroidism who previously applied for VA disability compensation but were denied should reapply and might be eligible for retroactive compensation. Exposed veterans who have not yet applied should consider filing a new claim. For assistance, call Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. Weekdays at 3 p.m. right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So we were earlier during over-under, we were having a discussion about, the NBA Finals. Kev said over-under this series going 5.5 games. The Phoenix Suns have a 2-0 series lead over the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to look a lot more comfortable, settled in at home. These are two very young rosters, and these are two rosters that I think Crowder is the only guy that has any NBA Finals experience. Yep. These guys as a whole, even with the stars, even with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, even with Giannis Antetokounmpo, only one player in this series has any NBA Finals experience. And I do believe that definitely gives an advantage to the home team, which is why I do believe Phoenix is a much better team. How much better than Milwaukee? We're going to find out when they return home, because I think that Milwaukee, it was kind of a shocking experience playing in the finals. It's been a hot crowd in Phoenix all playoffs long, and now they were just extra amped up for the first two NBA Finals games, the first time since '93 that Phoenix has played in the NBA Finals. Unbelievable atmosphere. Now Milwaukee, down 0-2, gets to go back to their home court, and it's been even longer for them since they were in the NBA Finals. It's going to be a tough atmosphere for Phoenix. I think Chris Paul can handle playing at that Milwaukee atmosphere. What about Devin Booker, first NBA Finals? DeAndre Ayton was down on himself, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. He was, I love that clip, by the way. If you haven't seen it, you got to find it. Monty Williams, I love and I've told you this, my obsession is watching coaches coach. I know that sounds weird. I literally, during timeouts, I have an obsession with watching how coaches interact with players. Like, I'm always amazed by that. I don't know why. I grew up wanting to be a coach, but I figured I can coach guys that were 6'5", 6'6". They weren't going to take a 5'5" guy serious.
They took Jeff Van Gundy seriously.
Oh, you mean the guy that was being ragdolled around the court? Yeah. The guy that got choked out by Latrell Sprewell?
No, that was PJ Carlissimo that got choked out.
Doesn't matter. He was bigger than me. So the point is I love that clip. But anyways, DeAndre Ayton got really down on himself, even with that atmosphere. I think the pressure, kind of got to him a bit. But again, good leadership around him helped him, ramp up. The point is, I think Milwaukee's going to do just fine heading back home. We've seen them down 0-2 on a couple of occasions throughout this playoff run. This is kind of familiar territory to them. Not familiar territory you like to be a part of, but nonetheless. So we started talking about over under 5.5 games. I said over because I think Milwaukee evens this series up going back to Phoenix. But if they split this, Phoenix will have an opportunity to win an NBA championship, their very first NBA championship on their home floor in Game 5. And it got me to thinking, can you imagine the atmosphere in Phoenix? The Phoenix atmosphere has been great even in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, now Games 1 and 2 of the finals. Can you imagine that Phoenix crowd, Kev? Watching Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Ayton, and Monty Williams all hoist up that NBA championship trophy. Do you know how electric that atmosphere is going to be, how emotional that's going to be for those players and the families there watching it happen? I mean, to feed off the energy of the crowd, the energy from a home crowd, there's nothing like it. When you're celebrating together, there is nothing like it. And that's what I'm hoping happens. I said they're going to even it up, but I'm hoping for a split to watch Phoenix have a chance to clinch it on their home floor. There is nothing worse to me than watching There's nothing worse to me than watching an NBA championship celebration on the road. We saw the Cavs, their first ever NBA championship, and right now with current ownership, it'll be their only NBA championship. And it was cool, but it sucked. I just felt like, man, this is Cleveland winning an NBA championship, and they're at Golden State, and the crowd's just all blend. The energy's just kind of awkward and weird. And then Kevin Durant's very first NBA championship with the Golden State Warriors, that was on the road as well in Cleveland, and that was dry and dull. That's a player getting his very first chip. And it was just dry and dull and boring. I'm like, holy smokes. Michael's first NBA championship was at Los Angeles, and that was such an emotional thing too. He's just in tears, losing his mind. Yeah, Michael, I know. Haha, MJ. 1 of 6, better than LeBron, blah, blah, blah. No, in all seriousness, my point is, there's nothing you could do. There's no rule to change it, but I hate it. It doesn't happen often. Teams seem to win championships on the road all the time. The tough place to play. It's tough to play on the road, but yet it seems every year the team is clinching a championship on the road in the finals. The last time you said that a team won a title on their home floor was what? Did you say 2014?
2000. Oh, dang, I just had it.
You're fine. I think you said it was the Spurs. You can refollow that up. But my point, how about the Toronto Raptors a few years ago? That team may never win another NBA championship again. And they win their first NBA championship, and it's on the road. Now, they're still happy that they won it, but can you imagine? They kept showing the clips of the Raptors fans outside their home arena, and that looked like an electric, unbelievable atmosphere, and they weren't even watching the game in person. They were watching it on the big screen, right?
Right.
I can't imagine what Toronto would have been like had they clinched that on their home floor. It would have just been bonkers, man, and I can't believe I just used the word bonkers, but it would have been, I don't know what the hell bonkers means, but it seemed like the right time to use it. How about the Reds I can't imagine with as long as we've gone without watching this team in the playoffs. I know they made it last year. I don't count last year, but man, watching the Reds at Great American Ballpark in a playoff series, it's been way too long since then. That would be magnificent. I'm saying I'm tired of it. I want to see a team win the championship on their home floor. It loses all the feel good, the goosebumps. You lose all of that when you watch a team win it on the road.
I know when Miami won it over OKC, I forget exactly what year that was. I want to say it was 2012, I think. But I just remember the Heat going out to the club, and they went to Live, which is a very popular club in Miami. And, that Drake was there, Lil Wayne was there, Rick Ross was there. Like, that atmosphere at that club at that time had to be on level 10. Like, a lot of these teams, like, I remember when the Cavs won in Golden State, like they flew directly to Vegas and everything like that. So like when you're a champion, you're looking for a party atmosphere, especially when you
tough to do on the road.
Win on the road. So like at home, yeah, you know exactly where to go. You ain't even got to do anything. You could just, your family and friends, you just might just be partying at the arena that the rest of the night, having a good time and everything like that. And I know a lot of it has to do with like kind of like the age of the team. When when San Antonio got their quote unquote revenge over Miami and beat them and everything like that, they had a chill type of situation, like basically a big victory cigar. Like we even saw that in the Last Dance documentary where, you talked about the Bulls winning their first championship. It was on the road in LA, and they're partying in the locker room, George crying with the trophy in his hands, everything like that. But then you fast forward to the last one, he's basically holding court in this hotel room, playing the piano, talking about the last shot. It's a celebration going on, but it's a different celebration because of years of age and like, hey man, I'm not going out to the club no more. I'm not partying no more. We're just gonna bring the party to us. So, winning a championship has got to be difficult. So as fans, you dang on right, you want to be in the building. You dang on right. Like I remember when I'm going to bring up a sore subject for myself when my baseball team, the Cleveland baseball team, played the Cubs and eventually lost in extra innings to the Cubs. I remember that day, my brother hit me up and said, hey, I'm going to the game because we winning it tonight. Are you coming or not? I need to know now because I'm about to buy the tickets right now. Are you coming or not? And I told him, no, I don't want to jinx them. And as I'm watching that game, and if people that don't remember that game, the Cleveland baseball team was down the entire game. And I'll never forget when they actually tied it up at the bottom of the eighth and everything like that with a home run. And I think to myself, like, I need to be there. I should have been there. This is going to be the one. This is going to be the one. And I'm screaming like a little kid and getting that feeling again. And unfortunately, the rain came and delayed the game. And then we eventually lost. And my brother calls me as he's leaving the ballpark, and I haven't heard my brother cry in decades, and my brother was about to cry. Like I could hear it in his voice. Like
I don't think I've ever been close to crying over a sports team.
Look, man, I love the Buckeyes football. I love Syracuse basketball, but I promise to goodness, man, I don't think I want any other team to win a championship more than I want the Cleveland baseball team to win a championship. If they would have won that game, I would have cried like a baby. I cried like a baby because they lost. Like, dude, like I dropped a tear because we lost. But if they would have won, I probably would have called off work the next day.
And you wonder why my sympathy meter is always low. I just don't. I love all my teams, but
you never.
I don't think so.
Never. Man, I want to hear from the listeners. Is there any team out there that you would cry if they won a championship?
Yeah, has sports ever made you cry, like happy tears, not sad tears, but sad tears too? But I'm curious, has a team ever moved you to tears?
I don't think I've ever cried happy tears for a victory, but I definitely cried when we lost that World Series. We were up 3-1, and we had that game, man. That was gut-wrenching, man. I cried when they lost in Game 7 to the Mariners back in '97. I cried that night too.
See, I'm at the point. I think this job too has put me in a position where I emotionally connect to teams, but I didn't cry when the Browns lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think I almost did because I lost out on that steak dinner in Cleveland. I think that was the bet. So I was really wanting that steak. It was more about not getting steak than it was about the Browns losing, but nonetheless. So no, I just hope that that's the case this year. Whatever team, two teams have never won an NBA championship, battling it out right now. I just hope that whoever wins this, most likely the Phoenix Suns, I hope they win it in Phoenix in front of that college atmosphere crowd that they have. I just think that it's going to, again, a championship's a championship, a ring's a ring. It's not really going to matter a whole hell of a lot. The fans will be happy no matter what. But man, I can't imagine it's just more aesthetically pleasing to watch a championship be celebrated with its fans there. And there you go. That's why I asked earlier, March Madness, would you like to see, where are you at with that? Do you like the host sites? There's something about March Madness, that first Thursday, you tune in to watch round one, and even the first four here in Dayton. When you walk into UD Arena and you look down and you see that NCAA, branded court down there. There's something special about that. There's something cool about that. But I also would love to see for instance, conference championships. I hate that a small ass conference like the Horizon League, you have a conference full of teams that can't draw fans, and then you bring them all together and try to promote all these fans coming to watch. That ain't gonna work. The Horizon League has no business being in bed with the host site. Like, everyone should host. Some of the Nutter Center, when Wright State was hosting those championship games, that atmosphere was unbelievable. It was unbelievable, the atmosphere at the Nutter Center when they are hosting a championship game. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I'm at with that.
It was like that when I was in school. The Nutter Center would host, like, they did a rotation. Basically, every school gets it one year and everything like that.
Or the higher seed host it. And there was one year where Green Bay was they had Kiefer Sykes. They were the number one. They got upset in the semifinals, and then they had to turn it around and get it Dayton very quickly. And they played Milwaukee and all that stuff, but that crowd was unfreaking believable. I love that. That provides a different type of tournament atmosphere that you probably don't get throughout. Even if you look at Dayton, who gets 13,000 fans pretty much at every single game, you're going to say, well, what's going to be the difference about winning an A-10 championship on your floor versus on a host site? Well, for one, they really struggle winning them on the host site, so they don't do that. But I've seen them win regular season A-10 titles. The last couple of years that Archie was there, and the atmosphere. I mean, I still remember just sitting down there and you could feel the ground just shake. That's how loud the fans were. There's just something special about watching your team play in those championship type environments. But as far as the NCAA tournament goes, I think it would possibly. I don't think you would see as many upsets, right? Like, I think it would eliminate the upsets.
Yeah,
but. Let's say it didn't. Look at Ohio with the couple wins that they had this past year. The Elite Eight run that UD made a few years ago. You would see them playing on the road. Maybe that doesn't happen. I don't know. There's just something about watching the excitement of your fans. There's just something big time about that. Hell, even in high school sports, I hate that the sectionals and regionals and sectionals, districts, regionals are. Let these kids play on their home floor. Why not? I don't get why they do. Money, actually. Never mind. We're done. I forgot. Anytime I have any doubt or question about anything in sports, I forgot. My bad. I just wasted your time, everyone's time. It's like the light bulb. Just money. That's why. Centerville should, with all that talent that they should be hosting. Excuse me. They should be hosting on their home floor. That crowd would be unbelievable watching a tournament run, if they're the higher seed or what have you. Even if they're playing on the road, the atmosphere is better than putting everyone in some of these host site games.
But in high school, traveling to those games, that didn't give you excitement. That didn't give you like, oh man, this is like the big time or whatever.
I was fortunate on our tournament runs. We would play our sectionals at Lima Senior, and that was okay. It was It was what it was. It was But if you got to districts, we at that time, I can't remember what Anderson Arena, I think is what it was. I think it's a different court now for Bowling Green, but it used to be Anderson Arena. That was a badass place to play in districts because it was a compact arena and the atmosphere was awesome for that. I guess that's pretty cool too. But like playing on high school floors, I hate that. Go play in the colleges. That's where it's at. We played, who do we play? William Buford. We played him at Anderson Arena in Bowling Green. That place was standing room only to watch William Buford, of course. And that was something cool that I'll always remember. The year before that, we played John Diebler's Upper Sandusky team at Savage Hall at Toledo. That was standing room only because, again, we were fortunate to be knocked out by teams who had these stars. I mean, we got knocked out by Mr. Basketball, I think, back-to-back seasons.
Good for you.
But, it would have been cool to go play John Diebler at Upper Sandusky. It would have been cool to play William Buford at, where did he play? Toledo Libby. Toledo Libby. Atmospheres would have just been through the. I don't know. Actually, Toledo Libby, they didn't bring anybody.
They don't need any more help than they already got.
I don't get the Toledo Libby thing. I'll never understand because that was sad too. Because like with us, like we packed that gym. It's such a great experience. Toledo Libby, I remember they made it to state that year, and they didn't have a student section. All the parents were sitting where the students sit. I hate that. I hate when that happens. Anyways, that's besides the point. But all over the place here. I like the home court atmosphere, and I feel like the host sites take that away.
So speaking from just a student perspective, because I got cut from my high school basketball team not once but twice, but it was something about traveling. It was something about traveling to those games. Like we were real good at basketball when I was in high school. We would travel to Solon for games. We would travel to St. Acius for games and everything like that. And piling in a car, you and your buddies, about 6 of you in a car that fits 4 people to go all the way to the other side of town. It felt like you were traveling somewhere.
Wait, your school didn't give you guys a bus?
Not for the students.
Oh, okay. I was like, I was like,
Yo!
I was like, damn, they made you carpool to your games? Okay, you were talking about your student.
It's a regular
Okay,
student body. The student body, you got to get there on your own.
We're
Yeah, I
on the
mean,
same page
it was just something about that. It seemed like you were doing something, and I think it was just like a cool thing to experience and everything like that. I get what you're saying. You know, you want to reward, teams for having a good season and bring that energy, but maybe it was just my school that we traveled big time, especially for our basketball team. Back when I was in high school, we went to all the games.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio, the show brought to you by Orion Sports Medicine. The TBT on WING, you'll be able to catch every Red Scare and Carmen's Crew game right here on 1410 Wing AM. Myself and Norm Greavy will have the call for all the action. Of course, you can watch all TBT games on the ESPN family of networks, but we will kick off the TBT on WING on July 23rd with Carmen's Crew that night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Then, of course, the Red Scare will play this the 24th, Saturday, at 3 p.m. and we'll have that all here. Again, we'll be broadcasting live from the Cavelli Center in Columbus, the host site for the regional round there. And then, of course, all those teams looking to compete to get to the championship week, which will be held right here at UD Arena. And if Carmen's Crew, the 1 seed, and the Red Scare, the 2 seed, Ohio State's alumni team, Carmen's Crew, the Flyers alumni team, Red Scare, the path is set up to where they would be meeting one another in the quarterfinal matchup round at UD Arena. So make sure you're getting tickets. It was announced today that there will be no restrictions at all for the TBT at UD Arena. So make sure you take advantage of that and get your tickets ahead of time and potentially set yourself up to watch the Red Scare against Carmen's Crew. That's unbelievable. I think the last time they played was at Capitol. I think the last time, because last year was in the bubble. The year before that, it was the first year for the Red Scare, I believe, and that was the game that they did meet up with Carmen's Crew. Carmen's Crew won that, but it was at Capitol, and the atmosphere for that. I mean, everyone I talked to that went to that said it was just hectic. It was, the atmosphere was electric for that, and that's just a little weird tournament game. Winner take all, $1 million on the line, but there's 64 teams. It's a full field. They need to add a first 4 to that, baby.
You want more, man? It's all. I mean, I don't want to discredit it and try to say it's a pickup game, but it has that appeal to it. Like it's win or go home. Like everybody that plays basketball has been to the court where you get there and maybe you get there a little late and you got to call next. Who got next? Me. So you're like 3 games down and you wait it out for an hour and you finally get on the court and you give it your all because if you lose, that's it for the day. That's why I love playing pickup basketball so much. Like, it's not like regular season NBA where you're half-assing it or whatever. You're giving it your all because once you lose, unless you're like a super baller, you're not getting picked up.
I care.
Yeah, we know. You're
a globetrotter, man.
So that's what this appeal has. Like, you rarely see blowouts. You see dudes hustling like crazy. You see guys giving it their all. And I love it, man. Like you said, the alumni teams and everything like that, you basically get to revisit, the years of those players in college and everything like that. And I'm a big college basketball fan. So seeing a alumni team from, Ohio State, Syracuse, Marquette alumni team won last year. I mean, think about it. The, what's his name? I'm getting this confused, but he was Dwayne Wade's backcourt mate when they were at Marquette together. Like he was like the secret weapon for them this past year. But in years past, he's been the lead and scorer and everything like that. But he's so far up there in age, he can't give it to you the whole game. They got to use him in spurts and everything like that. Like that's cool. That's cool, especially for college basketball fans. A lot of people out here complain about the one and dones and everything like that, and we don't get to know these guys. Well, the guys playing in this tournament, you remember their faces because they played at your favorite university for quite some time. So lock into the TBT right here on Wing.
TBT on WING. And again, you can also watch all 64 teams in action on ESPN's family of networks. Carmen's Crew will tip off their TBT run on July 23rd, a Friday night at the Cavelli Center. They're the 1 seed. The Red Scare, the Dayton Flyers alumni team, will tip off their TBT run on Saturday, the 24th at 3 p.m. And again, hoping that crash course collision ends up in the quarterfinal round at UD Arena. for the championship week that starts on July 31st through August 3rd. The TBT on WING. And just a reminder, you can watch all TBT games on ESPN's family of networks. All right, we'll step away for a few moments. And when we come back, I found this interesting list. Everyone knows I love lists. Lists. I had a lisp right there. I lisped on the list. Anyways, found this interesting from CBS Sports. They ranked the 12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl in order of the best chance to win a Super Bowl this season. Let me say that again. There are 12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl. They took those 12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl and they ranked them by best chance to win a Super Bowl to the least chance to win a Super Bowl based on this upcoming season. Yes, the Browns are on that list. Yes, the Bengals are on that list. But there's some teams ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Bengals are ahead of some teams. I would just, in typical Kinner form, I would like to rearrange this list just a little bit. We'll discuss on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Shut up and you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Designer face masks, DIY haircuts. In a world full of things you never thought possible, here's one more. Now you can get the same high-quality insurance from Allstate, but at a new low rate. Drivers who switched and saved averaged $718. With Allstate, you can lower your rates, not your expectations. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Reported average annual savings when switching auto by new customers surveyed who saved with Allstate in 2019. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Not available in every state. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
And I'm Kettering Clerk of Court Rob Scott.
We're teaming up together to expand access to justice in our community. Our Help Center provides legal information and access to legal programs free of charge.
The Help Center can't provide legal advice, but if you need information on a wide range of legal issues, check in with the Help Center at Kettering Municipal Courthouse on the second and third Mondays of the month at no cost to you.
I'm Montgomery County Clerk of Courts Mike Foley.
And I'm Kettering Clerk of Court Rob Scott.
Visit courthouseteyou.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kinner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Found this interesting sports topic trending on Twitter right now, Kev, that a lot of people are pretty upset that Coach Thibodeau was named Coach of the Year, believing that Monty Williams should be named the Coach of the Year. And it's a weird debate to have. I mean, it's like it took Monty Williams getting his team to the finals to have this debate over something that was announced almost a month ago. I hate when we do this, when we do I love what Monty Williams has done. I think that the argument should not be Monty Williams should have been Coach of the Year over Coach Tibbs. The argument should be when the Coach of the Year award comes out. You know, should Coach of the Year awards be done for the complete body of work? And sometimes it should include the finals run or what have you. But look, Phoenix, yes, was a 1 seed. And there's a lot about that. And I love, by the way, all I do is talk about Coach Monty Williams. I bring him up all the time. I'm a big fan of his. But I think, and I don't think I'm that far in left field on saying this, that they were the 1 seed due to load management, not on their behalf, on the Clippers' behalf, on the Lakers' behalf. A lot injuries played a huge role in that. What's that?
2 seed.
Who's the 1 seed?
Jazz.
Oh, well, either way, 2 seed. That's still very impressive. But the bottom line, I mean, look, I'm not trying to discredit the run that they have made. Me and Kev will definitely be on opposite sides of this, but they're not beating the Lakers if Anthony Davis is healthy and LeBron James is fully healthy. They're not beating the Clippers if Kawhi Leonard is completely healthy, which is totally fine. That doesn't mean that Monty Williams is not a good coach, but I think we're living in the moment right now. I mean, no one was complaining about Coach Thibs winning Coach of the Year over a month ago when it was announced, but now all of a sudden Monty Williams has this team in the finals, and everyone's like, oh, he should be Coach of the Year. He's a fantastic coach, and you're right. If the Coach of the Year award would include the playoffs, I wouldn't even bat an eye at that. He would have my first, second, and third place vote for Coach of the Year. But to sit there and act like what Coach Thibs did with the New York Knicks, not just getting him in the playoffs, it'd be one thing if they were a fringe play-in team. They were a 4 seed.
Right.
They were a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference record-wise. Okay. They a completely revamped roster. That roster had no business being as good as what they were. I mean, late additions to Derrick Rose, providing that very similar leadership role that what we see Chris Paul with the Phoenix Suns, but Phoenix Suns have a much better roster, right? I love what the Knicks did. Coach Thibs deserves a ton of credit. And a lot of that has to do with how he got that team to buy in. All of a sudden, the Knicks look like a nice landing spot for free agents out there. They look more, it's stability, right? Coach Thibs has made an organization that still has the same bonehead owner that made them desirable because you have Quickly, because you have Obi Toppin, because you have players that they buy in to being coached and buy into that the same way the Suns are doing. Me saying that Coach Thibs should be Coach of the Year is not me saying that Monty Williams should not, but I'm not going to say that Monty Williams should be head coach over Thibs as well. They both did fantastic jobs this year. I just think that the award, honestly, Kev, should be given at the end of the year. I said that about the All-Star game yesterday. I hate that we do All-Star selections based on 2.5 months of play.
Right.
And then at the end of the season, which starts in April and doesn't end till September, that's April, May, June, July, August, September. It's a 6-month season for the regular season, and you are listed as an All-Star for 2.5 months of play out of 6. Jesse Winker, his season's tail spinning right now. Another bad night last night. He came up limping at one point. Luckily, he stayed in the game. But he's close. I think he's hitting 301 right now, Kev. He might be hitting under 300 heading in to the All-Star break, okay? He could plummet the rest of the way. And he's going to be looking back at this. I was an all-star starter, and I hit 247 that year. We had that conversation yesterday. So I hate when awards are given prematurely. Do you like the fact that the Coach of the Year award is given at the end of the regular season? And do you agree that Coach Thibs is the Coach of the Year or not? And by the way, if you think Monty Williams, I'm not going to go to the grave fighting that. All I'm saying is I just don't like when we start crapping on Coach Thibs right now because of the awesome run that the Phoenix Suns are making. No one was standing on their chair screaming this when the regular season ended. Everyone's like, oh, that's a clear-cut favorite to win Coach of the Year. But now they're in the finals. Now everyone's like, oh, yeah, Thibs is crap. It should be Monty Williams. Where are you at with that?
First of all, Coach Thibs ain't crap. Coach Thibs is one of the best coaches in the NBA. Look at what he did with the Bulls. Look what he did with the T-Wolves when he was there. They actually made the playoffs. And the players on the team like Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins, he's coaching us too hard. He's playing us too many minutes. And Jimmy Butler's like, we need to be playing more minutes. Jimmy Butler leaves. Thibs leaves. They suck again. So do with that what you may. It's a regular season award. And I have absolutely no problem with Coach Thibs winning it Coach of the Year. I thought he should have won. It was down to those two guys, in my opinion. It could have went either way. But you know what? The team that Coach Thibs had and the team that Coach Monty Williams had are vastly different. Now, because let's look at the best player on the Knicks. Julius Randle. I mean, this is a breakout season for him. He's about to cash a big bag and everything like that. But look at the second best player on that team. RJ Barrett, average player. So you look at the team that Monty Williams is coaching. You have a Hall of Fame point guard. You have an up-and-coming shooting guard in Devin Booker. So automatically they have a better roster. So I'm going to go with the coach that had lesser talent and that was expected to be in the dumpster and is expected to be in the lottery as the Coach of the Year. And like I just said, it's a regular season award. It's not a playoff award. Like if we're going to be doing the whole playoff thing later, then yeah, Coach Monty Williams is looking like he should win Coach of the Year in the playoff edition. But in the regular season, I'm cool with Coach Thibs. And let's be clear, the Suns still got to win 2 more games, because if it goes left, like if Giannis and Middleton decides to start hitting some shots and this thing goes the other way, then what you going to say about Coach Monty Williams? And let's be clear, I'm rooting for the Suns. I'm rooting for Chris Paul and Monty Williams. But, this ain't over yet. Like Chris Paul said in his interview, it's just 2 games. We just did what we were supposed to do, win on our home court. Yes, it's cliche, it's all get out, but it's true because we saw anything can happen in the playoffs. The Nets were up 2-0 on the Bucks. Kyrie Irving lands on Giannis' foot, twists his ankle, whole series switches. So it ain't over. It ain't over yet.
No, definitely not over. And you bring the Bucks are the Clippers of the Eastern Conference. They're down 0-2 almost every round.
Roaches.
They like, I don't know what it is. I think it's kind of like the Cincinnati Reds. They only seem to win games that they trail in. It's the weirdest thing. Of course, they trailed last night, came back, then gave that up again. But it's besides the point. Aaron on Twitter. By the way, Aaron, I can't read your Twitter handle over the air without getting in trouble, I don't think. And Aaron, I don't understand. You got to explain your Twitter name to me. I mean, I think it's a risk if I say what it is.
Don't do it. It's a Friday. No need to get that email.
DONG a-thon. Anyways, I'll just read it. I think Nate McMillan should be being talked about in this Coach of the Year conversation. 1,000,000% with you. But again, this is he took over as an interim coach in the middle. That worked against him. But I think that's what added to the storyline. But no one, and Aaron, I'm with you, and I'm glad he got that extension with the Hawks. But would you be saying that if they didn't advance to the Eastern Conference Finals? If they would have lost to the Knicks like they were not supposed to, but I guess were expected to, right? Because it's a one-man show. They're the Eastern Conference version of the Dallas Mavericks, right? So it's kind of like that. If they would have lost, I mean, they got to the playoffs, that's super. But if they would have lost in the playoffs in the first round to the Knicks like they were predicted to, would you still be saying that? And I'm saying even I'm still a big fan of Nate McMillan, even if they had lost to the Knicks like they were supposed to in the first round. But it is what it is. I do like Nate McMillan. I'm really glad he got that extension, by the way. Did you see Scott Brooks was brought in as the assistant to Chauncey Billups?
Oh, okay.
Let me ask you this.
Okay. I like it.
By the way, big fan of Chauncey Billups getting this opportunity, but they did this with Steve Nash too. Steve Nash gets the Nets job and they bring in Mike D'Antoni. Chauncey Billups gets the job right there and Scott Brooks. Is this we're providing you an experienced head coach to be your assistant, or is this a security plan in case it doesn't work out with Chauncey Billups? You can move Scott Brooks over. Was the Mike D'Antoni thing a security thing in case Steve Nash doesn't work out? You can move an experienced head coach over. My big argument with all of this is if you have to go out and hire a head coach to be your assistant coach, are you forcing your new head coach? And I'm all about the new blood, and Chauncey deserved it. He was an assistant coach for a while. He moved up. His name was involved in a lot of GM possibilities too. But Steve Nash is a different example because he was not an assistant coach.
Right.
But I just find it odd to me that, yes, you're only as good as your coaching staff is. But at the same time, if you have to go out and get a name that has more credibility or is a bigger, that has way more experience to walk alongside you, I don't get that. Do you know what I'm saying? Even in our work, why would you, if you're going to hire a GM of a radio station, you don't hire a unexperienced GM and then go hire a former GM to be his assistant? Why would you just not hire the experienced GM to be the damn GM and hire the inexperienced one to be the assistant? But I get it. It's not anti-Chauncey Billups here. I just never understood this approach as far as you either think Chauncey's the guy or you don't. Because in my opinion, if you think he's the guy, you don't need to go get a Scott Brooks to be your assistant coach, who will bounce the first head coaching job opportunity that comes Scott Brooks' way.
Oh, absolutely he is. And just like D'Antonio was interviewing for head coach positions during their playoff run, for sure, those dudes still want to be head coaches. But I like it. I like those type of moves. I almost equated to how, Phil Martelli is an assistant coach with Juwan Howard at Michigan. This is like Juwan Howard, his first time being a head coach, just like Chauncey Billups, this is his first time being a head coach. So having somebody that has coaching experience around you, yes, Chauncey Billups knows the game of basketball, but there are certain things that he hasn't seen before or dealt with before.
Then maybe that means he's not ready to be head coach.
Well, I mean, no, that's just like having guys on your staff and, them being able to maneuver you through it. Like, hey, well, think about it like this, coach, or give you advice and everything like that. I don't think that anybody stepping into a role that they never done before can be completely ready for the job until they do it. Like I don't see anything wrong with having somebody that has that type of experience on your roster. I think it can only help the team and help you grow as a coach because you have somebody to bounce ideas off of that's been there before. Like I equate it to, you and your friends having a conversation about, girls and talking to girls for the first time. Well, what do they know more than you? They're the same age as you. They're doing the same exact thing as you. I never asked my buddies for advice with girls. I asked my brother for advice with girls who's 6 years older than me, who has experiences, that knows the do's and don'ts. So I actually like these type of moves for NBA franchises. You're getting that young blood, but you're having, veteran coaches on the staff to kind of help and fill in the gaps that they may have.
But again, if you hire a head coach, there shouldn't be gaps.
Oh, there's going to be a gaps. Nobody's perfect. Like,
but again, the more experienced coach that you aren't like. So let me ask you this:
Tex Winter was on Phil Jackson's coaching staff. He was a former head coach.
But if you would have hired Scott Brooks as head coach, you wouldn't go get a Rick Adelman or somebody to put alongside him. You would go get a up and coming coach to put alongside. So that's why I find it weird. For instance, and by the way, I like this move, and I like the Phil Martelli move in college basketball with Juwan Howard, but even then I thought that was weird. I'm like, so is Juwan Howard the guy or not? Because you're not going to bring. I mean, Coach Krzyzewski's. You're not going to put Phil Martelli next to Mike Krzyzewski. Why? Well, because you don't have gaps. You have to worry about it. That's an unfair thing to say. Juwan Howard should be Coach Krzyzewski. But here's an example. We see things in basketball you don't see in other sports. Imagine in football. Can you imagine this? If when Urban Meyer retired, sorry, whatever, shut up. By the way, that's why my hair looks like this. It's the Urban Meyer. But no, imagine when Urban Meyer retired and Ryan Day got the job, but then they announced that Jim Tressel is going to be the assistant coach. It's like, why wouldn't you just make Jim Tressel the head coach then? But that's what we see in basketball all the time. We say it's a good move, but that move would be destroyed in football. I guess we kind of saw it in basketball with Thad Matta with Woodson at Indiana, which it's another similar situation there. But if I'm Woodson, I'm like, hold up. I've been a head coach in the NBA. I'm a former great player. I have a lot of connections. I don't need Thad Matta to come babysit me. Like, do you think Chauncey Billups likes it?
I think so. I think they got,
job security though, Kev.
His blank.
You don't think that he looks at that and says, "Why are you bringing in Scott Brooks? Like, why can't I pick my guy?" I mean, maybe he did pick him, but it's not being reported that way. It's saying that the Portland Trail Blazers look to bring in an assistant coach with experience for Chauncey Billups. So I'm reading it that way. It could not be that way.
In a perfect world, which we all know we don't live in, I mean, if you hire a new young head coach and everything like that, you want to make it most comfortable for him as possible so he can succeed. You shouldn't be thinking about like, oh man, if this fails, we got this guy as a backup. In that case, you shouldn't have hired him at all. I view it as a positive light, just like we talked about with Juwan, just like we talked about with Mike Woodson. Like, there are going to be gaps that these guys are going to have to navigate their way through. And there's no perfect candidate. There's especially new head coach candidate, like a person that's never coached in the NBA at all, no matter how much experience they have as a player and as assistant coach. Once you move over to that lead seat, you go from being the buddy, the big brother guy that Chauncey Billups was to players like a Chris Paul, to a Carmelo Anthony. You go from being the big brother guy and, one-on-ones with them all the time to being the lead guy, to having to make hard decisions. And, in a case like Phil Jackson, take the ball out of your best hands player. Like, there's going to be a situation where he's going to have to take the ball out of Dame's hands and put it in CJ's hands. And those are tough decisions that he's going to have to make. And having, another former head coach on the sidelines to maybe play the good cop, and he plays the bad cop. So I have absolutely no problem with this.
I just think that these coaches, I think deep down, like, I don't think Steve Nash, even though his relationship with D'Antoni goes back to his playing days, so maybe there's a little bit of a trust there. But Chauncey Billups is like, why? I mean, Chauncey Billups is looking at a head coach with experience, and if you're bringing him there because Chauncey Billups doesn't have that experience, or you're not comfortable with him running a team, then maybe Chauncey Billups should not have been your head coach then, if you're more comfortable with that. That's all. It's just the way I'm looking at it, I guess, or how I would view it, being open to critique, I guess, as far as that goes. Why hire a head coach to be an assistant to an inexperienced head coach when you should have maybe that assistant coach should have just been the head coach? But it's I don't know. It's just a way to look at it, I guess. But you don't see it in other sports. I'm trying to think like in baseball, basketball, or NFL. I think basketball is the only one we see this with on a regular basis. I mean, Jeff Mercer, when he left Wright State, he took the Indiana job. And, you know, Jeff Mercer was a big deal here at Wright State, and he's doing great things at Indiana. So that was worked out for him. But they brought in Scott Rowland at Indiana. So Jeff Mercer was the, baseball coach at Wright State. He takes the Indiana job, but then it was announced a little bit later that Scott Rowland's going to be on his staff as well. Well, what makes you think that the money guys at Indiana aren't going to say, well, why don't we just make Scott Rowland the damn head coach? Like, no one knows who Jeff Mercer is at Indiana, but everyone knows who Scott Rowland is. Why not just make Scott Rowland the guy? So that's kind of, the only other example I could think of as far as that goes. Anyways, rambled on. Producer's horrible. Didn't tell me it was 5:01 already. We'll be back in a moment. Hour 3 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Credit Karma has always been there to help you make better financial decisions, and now they want to help even more. Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursements for debit purchases. And when you make a purchase between July 1st and July 23rd, you'll be automatically entered to win $1 million. Go to creditkarma.com/winmoney. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant Karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking services provided by MVB Bank, Inc. Member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply.
BC Powder knows life pushes us to the max, work to the max, family to the max. That can mean pain to the max. So try BC Max Strength. BC Max relieves tough pain at the speed of powder. Nothing stronger on pain without a prescription. BC Max in a great tasting lemonade flavor. And now max out your summer fun with a $5 gift card when you purchase BC Max. Terms and conditions at bcpowder.com.
Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6, leaving the light on for the three-dimensional soccer fan. Those cardboard cutouts were feeling a little flat. They didn't even yell goal for as long as possible when we finally scored. Well, while the cardboard you is packed away, the real you can head to the next road game. Motel 6 will help you get back into the action with clean, comfortable rooms at a great low rate. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on.
Folks, when you feed your dog, does he just stand there and look at you? Make your dog great again with premium foods from Homestead Feed and Supply. If it eats, we can feed it. 1833 North Dayton Lakeview Road, New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Get organized and save big money with 11% off everything now at Menards. Dakota Shelving has the perfect storage and decor solution for you. Add function and beauty with our beautiful selection of pre-finished square edge shelves. Right now, keep your home neat and tidy with 11% off Dakota Shelving at Menards. Good through July 10th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Staples is evolving to Staples Connect, a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore what's new at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
The Reds are on the radio.
Every hit, every strikeout, every Reds victory. You can catch all of the action all season long right here on Dayton's home of the Reds, 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
All right, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. The TBT on WING, the Red Scare and Carmen's Crew. The Red Scare, the Dayton Flyers alumni team. Carmen's Crew, Ohio State's alumni team. The TBT on WING making its return coming up on July 23rd will be Carmen's Crew's first game, the 1 seed out of the Columbus Regional at the Covelli Center. Myself and former Flyer Norm Greavy will be on the call for that one, as well as the Red Scare game on Saturday. That's a 3 p.m. tip-off on July 24th. So we're inching closer and closer to the TBT on WING 64-team field. It's single elimination. The Elam ending 100 million. Holy smokes! I would try for 100 million. What the hell's wrong? $1 million on the line, and for the Red Scare, it really comes down to an opportunity for some of your former Flyer favorites to reunite on the hardwood and play another game at UD Arena. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The TBT on WING. Just a reminder, you can watch all 64 teams in action throughout the entire TBT, the basketball tournament, on ESPN's family of networks. You can also make sure you go to look into how you can get tickets for the TBT's championship week at UD Arena. It was announced today, of course, that there would be no restrictions. I think that's pretty dang cool. It's going to be a very exciting atmosphere at UD Arena, especially if the Red Scare can advance there. I mean, we watched Wichita State's TBT team a few years ago. They played at they hosted that regional, and the atmosphere, I was like, I had to go back and look. I'm like, wait, is that a replay of a game from the winter? No, that was in the middle of July, a sold out, packed college basketball atmosphere for a tournament, for just a little summer, tournament. It's bigger than a tournament. I promise you that much, but I'm looking forward to that.
Do you run it to anybody who doesn't respect the TBT? Because maybe it's just a circle that I run it with that love it.
I love it too. I haven't met anyone that doesn't look at it that way, but it just sounds funny. Like, it's just like, I'm not downplaying it. Like, I've bought it. I bought into it years ago, especially because, again, it really started with, I never thought UD would get a team in. And then when I found that out, and it was a lot of recent players. Mm-hmm. That's what I was like, holy crap, man. Like, these guys, I think, look forward to that. The fact that Ryan Mikesell, Trey Landers, they had that, horrible ending to their careers. We thought we'd never see them play again, and yet here they are. Sure, they're playing pro ball and stuff too, but they're going to get to put on the Red Scare jerseys and play on the at UD Arena. Hopefully, that's what the big hope is. That. So we got this from Doug Hochschild earlier today. UD Arena will have no capacity restrictions for the TBT. Doug Hochschild, of course, the Director of Media Relations, Sports Information Director. But for the first time in 844 days since that weekend in March of 2020, the University of Dayton men's and women's basketball teams cut down the nets just before the pandemic hit. The University of Dayton Arena will host an event with no capacity restrictions when the final rounds of the basketball tournament come to Dayton July 31st through August 3rd. So tickets are on sale for the TBT, both in upper and lower arena seating areas, as well as the following premium seating areas. So keep that in mind. And again, Ticketmaster.com/venue. In fact, I'll just tweet this out. How about that? I'm just going to tweet this link out, and this is where you can purchase tickets to get your tickets early on. Again, no restrictions at all at UD Arena, July 31st through August 3rd for the TBT Championship Week, hopefully featuring the Red Scare, the Dayton Flyers alumni team. So with that being said, we got this Lamar Shelley said, who would be your starting five for Wright State if they had a TBT team, if you could make one, Kenner? First of all, I have no problem. Look, I'm not a homer here. I love Wright State. Everybody knows that. But there's no doubt about it. Wright State I don't think will ever have a TBT team, because the one thing you have to have a TBT team is you have to have a following and a backing and a passionate fan base that's going to push you there. There are passionate Wright State fans, Kev, but they don't come close to the numbers that a lot of these other teams do, like the Wichitas and the
you have
UDs
to pay to be in there.
Yep, and a lot of that is there's a lot of fundraising going on to get the Red Scare there. Okay, like they're selling T-shirts, they're doing camps, they're doing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of legwork that's being done. This isn't just we're going to get jerseys and go play for $1 million. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that Joey Gruden, former walk-on at UD, is having to do to just get the Red Scare going. Jeremiah Bonsu, another walk-on at UD, that's part of this as well. So again, I love Wright State. There's not a passionate enough following to ever get them in the TBT. That's just the reality of it. But since you asked, if we're going to make a starting five for Wright State's TBT team, if they had one, again, this is to match up well in the TBT. This isn't an all-time. You and I were starting to make a roster, and we're like, oh, wait, this is for now. This isn't like an all-time. We were saying Vitale and all that. I'm like, oh, no, he's like in his 40s. I might have been generous there. I'm not really sure. So in 96, he would have been about 20, 21.
Yeah.
So 96, so that's going to be 36, 46. Oh, damn. Yeah. No, we'll keep it. I'll be nice. He's in his 40s. How about that? No. But here's who I would have if Wright State had a team in the TBT. Deshaun Wood, Von Duggins, who still playing pro ball. Deshaun, I believe, is still playing pro ball, but I know that he plays regularly. I know this sounds great. Grant Benzinger I would have in that lineup. For one, very smart player, can shoot the hell out of that ball. You need three-point shooting, especially when you talk about the Elam ending, those crazy finishes. If you're down, having a three-point shooter like that who's lethal, I would love him on there. And then I loud and love, obviously, assuming that he's done playing at Wright State, which I want to cross him out because his ass better be coming back to Wright State. And then Mark Allstork, I'd put at the 4. Mark Allstork did play 4 in his final year at Wright State before transferring to Georgetown. So there's that.
That's a good lineup. Man. We have a couple guys that overlap. Deshaun Wood at my point guard, for my shooting guard, Bernard Hollins, who was a 16-point game scorer career-wise at Wright State. Also have Mark Allstork, but I have him playing at the small forward spot for me. Power forward be Kevin Milson, a 15-point per game scorer during his career at Wright State. And, of course, the big man in the middle, Loudon Love, for me as well. I think that team will win a game or two, man. Hey, man. Let's start a cash app for Wright State's alumni team for the TBT. I got $5 on it.
I don't think it would be good optics for them to be asking for money during this time, but I'm with you. I'll back it. I'll donate money with the restriction being it's going towards TBT and nothing else. So just saying. All right. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So we are ranking the 12 teams that never won a Super Bowl, Kev. The Houston Texans have never won a Super Bowl. The Falcons, the Vikings, the Titans, the Bills, the Browns, the Jaguars, the Chargers, the Panthers, Lions, Bengals, and I think I hit on the Cardinals. I think I hit on everyone there. Of all the teams that have not won a Super Bowl, I mean, I think it's like the Bills and the Browns are the two that's an obvious one right there. Those come in at 1 and 2 on this list, according to Jeff Kerr with CBS Sports. So the Bills, he has at number 1, the Browns at number 2. Ranking the 12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl by the best chance to win the title this upcoming season. I know you don't have it in front of you, but I think it's pretty. So he has the Bills number 1, the Browns 2. Mm-hmm. I would like the Browns 1. I think they're more complete, but I think right now you always got to give the tie goes to the team with the better quarterback. The Bills have the better quarterback. I have no problem with them being number 1. I think that they're just as good as the Browns. The Browns are just as good as them. 1, 2, 2, 1. It don't matter. The Titans come in at number 3. I think that's too high for them. on this list.
It up now so I can see it.
Now they are
okay. I see it now.
They are at number 3. I should have sent this to you.
No, I got
My
it.
apologies.
You're good.
So the Titans come in at number 3. I would have the Chargers ahead of the Titans. I would have the Cardinals ahead of the Titans. I think the Titans are too high. I think that there is a lot of overreaction to the addition of Julio Jones with A.J. Brown, with, of course, the Tennessee Titans. I love Derrick Henry, but you know what I mean? Like, I think that there's a lot of overreaction. None of those additions, when you look at that offense, help what their problem was last year, and it was that defense.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're high because I think the offense is going to be perfectly fine. Their defense was garbage last year, and for Vrabel, former Buckeye and everything like that, for him to be a defensive guy, he hasn't figured out that defense with lesser talent. When they had talent on the defense, they were good. But, him coming from that Patriot tree and everything like that, you would figure he will be able to scheme some things up to make that defense a lot better. We'll see how they play this upcoming season. But last season, they giving up points left and right, and there was no reason for that. And there's no wonder why their offense was so potent last year. They had to counter because they had no other options besides that offense. So I would have to bump them down. I'm with you. I would have the Chargers at 3 in place of the Tennessee Titans. Cardinals, I still need to see a little bit more, but really, that's really like the only one that I see a glaring issue with is the Tennessee Titans, because that defense is so bad. And from the Chargers perspective, with them retooling that offensive line, obviously, with Herbert back there at the quarterback position, you got Mike Williams at the wide receiver spot. You're looking to have that defense back with Bosa and everything like that. You're also looking for Derwin James to play a complete season. He's a outstanding safety when he's on the field. His problem is staying on the field, but just on paper, I will have the Chargers in that third spot.
Yeah, and real quick, last point on the Titans right here, too. I like the Titans. It's a good roster. They have a lot of flaws defensively. They didn't really do enough to address that in the offseason. And I say this about the Bengals. Just because you add players at positions that you need, it doesn't mean that you addressed it. It just means that you brought in new faces. How much did they improve in their secondary? Not much. I know they drafted high. They took some chances on guys in the draft, but they're still weak pass rushing wise. There's it didn't work out with Jadeveon Clowney last year. I just think that the 2020 Titans were the 2019 Browns, just very inconsistent or whatever. Actually, their offense is better than that Browns team in 2019. But nonetheless, I will say this though. I envision a tough season for the Titans coming up. I do believe that Julio Jones will have the same impact on the Titans that OBJ has had on the Cleveland Browns. I think that the reason that the Titans offense works so well is because it's run dominated with a very good receiver in AJ Brown, who is better than Jarvis Landry. I'm sorry. Better than Jarvis Landry, but I don't think A.J. Brown is a true number one for a lot of the elite teams in the NFL, right? And I don't think Jarvis Landry is a number one for a lot of elite teams in the NFL, but Jarvis has basically been the Browns' number one since Baker got there, even with OBJ, because OBJ's missed a lot of time due to injuries. I believe that Julio Jones will create the same tension in that offense, not a personality issue, but just a skill set issue, the way OBJ has for the Browns, where I think you're going to see their quarterback tense up and feel like, oh man, we have this elite wide receiver. I have to get him the ball. To where he had good chemistry with A.J. Brown, it just came natural, just like Jarvis with Baker. It was just natural, right? And I do believe, and I'm envisioning a similar situation. I think they're going to be a mirrored image of one another. The Titans and Browns are a mirror image of one another offensively. Defensively is where the Browns obviously have the advantage there. I'm really interested in how that pans out. The Cincinnati Bengals come in at number 8 on this list of 12 teams. If you're just tuning in, CBS Sports ranked 12 teams that have never won a Super Bowl by best chance to win a title this season. Okay. Jeff Kerr is the one that made this list. The Bengals come in at number 8. They are ahead of the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, the Detroit Lions, and the Houston Texans. The only thing I would do, I would take the Falcons and Panthers and move them ahead of the Bengals, mainly because Falcons love that offense. I think the defense is slightly improved. They're not a Super Bowl contender by any means, but you have a former MVP quarterback that's still playing at a high level. You still have Calvin Ridley. I love the tight end that they added from Florida that got a ton of pub during this. Good, solid run game, good offensive line. That right there alone, they're better than the Bengals as far as that goes. Now, their defense is bad, but the Bengals' defense is bad. So I would put the Falcons ahead of them. The Panthers, not locked. I'm not sold on their future with a quarterback with Sam Darnold, but right now I just think that organization is more stable. I would put the Panthers above the Bengals as well as far as that goes. I think the Bengals are at the bottom with the Lions and the Texans, not because of talent issues, because of organizational issues. The only other problem I have with this list, Kev, I think Jacksonville's ranked too high.
I was about to say.
Trevor Lawrence. I lied. The Texans should be 12, the Lions 11. I believe the Jaguars should be 10. I would put the Bengals at 9. And then I would put the Falcons above that. I'll even be nice to Bengals fans. I'll keep the Panthers below the Bengals, but I think the Bengals should be probably at number 7. I think that the Jaguars should scroll down. I don't know. It's strange.
At 12 for me, I would definitely have the Houston Texans for obviously reasons. Everything going on with Deshaun Watson, and then everything going on inside the organization. I would have them 12. We'll have the Lions 11. Jacksonville 10, Panthers 9. So yeah, I got the Bengals about roughly where they should be. I think that's fair. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are way too high. I don't see what they're seeing.
Yeah, Texans should be 12, Lions 11, Panthers I'll keep at 10. I'd put the Jaguars at 9, and yeah, the Bengals at 8. But outside of that, I still think the Chargers. The Chargers should be above the Vikings. I think that the Cardinals should be moved up to 3, or the Chargers should be at 3, and then either way, the Vikings are ranked too high I don't even know the direction of that franchise. They're not. I mean, they're going to win some games. Defense is okay. They have weapons, offensive, but there's no direction for that. I don't see what they're going. The Browns, they're building towards something.
Mm-hmm.
The Bengals don't have a lot going for them, but they at least feel like they're going for something. I don't know what the Vikings are going for. Like that's the thing I have. That's the problem I have with the Vikings. I don't know who the hell they are.
So where would you have them?
So the Chargers, I would put above them. I'd put the Falcons above them. So I would put Buffalo 1, Cleveland 2. I'd put Arizona 3.
So wait. So would you have Minnesota higher or the Titans higher?
I'd have the Titans higher than the Vikings.
So you got them about 7, 8.
Yeah, like the Titans still feel like they have a plan. Even though they have deficiencies, they have a plan. Minnesota, every year, they're talking about a new quarterback. But they keep marrying their quarterback financially every time. It never fails. So there you go. But I think with them, it's all about the fear of not having a quarterback versus having an average quarterback. And that's why they stick with Kirk Cousins. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 78. Tonight will also be partly cloudy, a low near 63. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high around 78. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Pete Kasuji here to tell you that if you're looking for the very best selection of your favorite garden plants, we grow over 125 varieties of tomatoes, peppers, cabbage, broccoli, cucumbers, cantaloupe, and eggplants. And if you haven't tried our famous Neighbor Beater tomato and pepper plants, come out and pick up a few and enjoy the best taste you ever had from your garden. They taste so good you'll wish you planted more. And remember, Neighbor Beater garden plants are sold only at our garden center at 1309 Brant Pike. So get out that shovel and start digging. It's time for gardens, bedding plants, rose bushes, vines, ground cover, shade trees and shrubs, bird baths and fountains, and so much more. So join the Green Revolution and come out to see us at 1309 Brant Pike, where we're open 7 days.
Ritz-All North America, LLC in Urbana will be hosting on-site walk-in interviews every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Plus, Ritz-All will be at Urbana University for the Champaign County Career Fair on July 10th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Please come out to see us and enjoy the added activities of food trucks, live music, and autograph signing by former Ohio State Buckeyes. Ritz-All has immediate openings seeking experienced welders, machine operators, paint unloaders, and paint loaders. Ritz-All is proud to be an affirmative action and equal opportunity employer.
What makes the perfect workout? Being able to ride, lift, and stretch in one place with motivating instructors.
Y'all look so good out there, Peloton.
Classes that always work around your busy summer schedule.
Push, Peloton. You got 20 minutes of opportunity on this ride.
Instructor-curated playlists for every mood.
Let's turn it up. Come on.
Now what if you had it all? Right at home. The Peloton Bike. Nothing like working out from home. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
What are you working on today? You could be helping us help customers. June is National Hiring Month, and we're hiring thousands of new AutoZoners to fill manager roles, driver spots, warehouse jobs, and sales team positions. More than half of AutoZone store managers are promoted from within. With more than 7,000 new management opportunities every year, AutoZone provides opportunity to drive your career. Apply today at careers.autozone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
What makes the perfect workout? Being able to ride, lift, and stretch in one place with motivating instructors.
Y'all look so good out there, Peloton.
Classes that always work around your busy summer schedule.
Push Peloton, you've got 20 minutes of opportunity on this ride.
Instructor curated playlists for every mood.
Let's turn it up. Come on.
Now what if you had it all right at home? The Peloton Bike. Nothing like working out from home. Visit onepeloton.com to learn more.
How hard can it be to find a Python pro?
Sam's startup had a front-end developer walk out the back door.
Beta.
He needs a new software engineer, stat.
What do you mean they just quit? We go live in 72 hours.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Now at Menards, save big money on your next flooring project with 11% off everything. Update your bathroom or kitchen with IVC sheet vinyl flooring. It's waterproof, easy to install, and comes in a variety of designs to fit your style. Get 11% off all IVC sheet vinyl flooring right now at Menards. Good through July 10th. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Upgrade your business during Dell Technologies Black Friday and July event. Get savings up to 50% off and take your office with you with Windows 10 Pro. Call 877-ASK-DELL for a Dell Technologies advisor.
Prescription products require an online consultation. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
My husband's ED was affecting our marriage. When he first started experiencing ED, it was difficult for both of us. We didn't know who to talk to about it or where to get help. HIMS was our answer. HIMS connected my husband with a licensed provider online. He was able to get medication to treat his ED at a fraction of the price people pay for the name brand. It was delivered to our door, and guess what? Our sex life is back. It works.
Right now, get your first online provider's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. Yep, free. No copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. Just the care you need.
Thanks to HIMS, we got our sex life and our marriage back.
To start your free online visit, go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit. forhims.com/joy.
Everything you want to hear is on Audible. Stream the best sellers and the newest hot releases, and stream originals and podcasts too. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
Want free Reds tickets? How about a free MLB Network Reds bag? Maybe a Reds bobblehead? Here's an idea. How about we combine them all together and give you a chance to win a free WING Reds prize pack presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Register daily at wingam.com. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
Name, image, and likeness, of course, is I'm sure everyone's nauseated, hearing about it. But I find it interesting. I thought this would be great for college athletics. I thought that it would, really kind of compete with the options. Mainly talking about college basketball or college football, you don't really have any options. I mean, mainly because it's not a college rule; it's an NFL rule. You have to be 21 to enter the NFL draft, correct? Or 3 years? Is it
3 years removed from high school?
3 years removed from high school, basically 21 or 22. If you're like me. I'm just joking. I graduated on time. But anyways. I really did. Shut up, people. I really did graduate on time. That could backfire. But no, they don't have a lot of options. Right? You're going to go to college. So that, when you're a college football or high school, when you're a great high school football player, it's really important that you find the situation that you think you're going to thrive in the best. You could transfer portal's full. I get that. That's fine. But I don't believe the transfer portal, even in college football, Kev. Isn't it crazy to you? It's crazy to me. There are way more college football players than there are college basketball players, but there's 3 times the movement in college basketball portal-wise than football. Right. Why is that?
Have no idea why there's so much movement.
If you can go into the NFL after 1 year versus 3, would there be more movement to better yourself right away? I feel like in basketball, there's the urgency of, I don't want to be here for 3 years. I want to go to the best situation my freshman year. And if that's not what I like right away, I'm not trying to be here 3 or 4 years. I need to get to a place that I'm going to thrive at right away. Football, it's like, well, I mean, I have to play 3 years of football anyways. I might as well set up shop and just be a part of the building program, right? Like, I don't understand why there's 3 times as many basketball transfers as football.
Maybe it's a simple fact of kids know coming out of high school, they're not ready for the NFL. Okay. There's very few players out there that, and we can think of, that could say like, all right, man, at 18 years old, you could compete with grown men in the NFL. So, going to these football factories, building up your body and everything like that, getting ready for the NFL, maybe they see the aspect of that. But then in basketball, we've seen tons and tons of people and young people come into the NBA and thrive. Like, there's the famous thing about Kevin Durant not being able to bench press 185 pounds. Like, you don't need to be like this Greek Adonis to get buckets. Like, you could be skinny, as Kevin Durant was and continues to be, and get busy in the NBA. So I think the NBA and professional basketball is really about skill and putting the ball in the hole, as opposed to, the NFL. You better have some muscle on you. You better be able to take this punishment and everything like that and build yourself up. I think a lot of guys maybe are potentially looking for that avenue to be seen and highlighted and be able to display their talents and find that right niche and that right coach for them to get caught by that NBA light or that overseas light, so they can make a career out of playing a professional sport. Yeah, that's fascinating to me. But I thought, like, with the name, image, and likeness, that I think you would, college would be a more serious. Like, I thought it would hurt the G. Remember that overseas elite, whatever. No, what's it called? I'm sorry, I have like 85 of these open. So Overtime Elite, Overseas Elite is the TBT team we were talking about. Overtime Elite was that it was this new program built for superstar basketball athletes, as young as 16 years old. Mm-hmm. And I thought that, that was going to hurt the NCAA, who wasn't allowing kids to be paid, that this is an option to go to. Well, I thought the name, image, and likeness, players having the opportunity to make money while in college, would hurt Overtime Elite. But Jalen Lewis, he becomes the highest ranked basketball recruit to ever join Overtime Elite. Mm-hmm. Jalen Lewis, he's the number 2 basketball prospect in ESPN's class of 2023. And I believe he's 16 years old, Kev. He's young. So this Overtime Elite, he had offers already at 16 years old. He had offers and interest from Kentucky, Duke, UCLA, and Michigan. He played at Bishop O'Dowd High School in Oakland, California. He was among a group of elite prospects invited to try out for USA Basketball in June, 16 years old, where he measured over 6'10" in shoes with a 7-foot wingspan. Oh, hell yeah. If I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to sign this dude. Dude, I didn't realize that. I'm picturing like a guard, a real skinny, scrawny, high school looking guy. He's 6'10". It's no damn wonder. It's no wonder, Duke. That doesn't surprise me that you had Kentucky, Duke, Michigan, UCLA looking at this kid. But he becomes the highest ranked prospect to join Overtime Elite. This kid would have offers all over the place. He was a prime target for the kind of guys who would make serious money, even in his 1 year of college. Right. But why do that? He can start making money now. Right. He can get Nike deals done now at 16 years old. That's what I've always asked. I understood why 16, 17, 18-year-old kids couldn't even tamper with that stuff now, because it would make you ineligible from college. Well, if you're already eliminating college as a possibility, you could start capitalizing. The kids around here, that's what I just don't understand. This is interesting to me. Again, 6'10", 16 years old, only going to get maybe not taller, maybe go Manute Bol on us, but he's going to get that man body over the next couple years and fill out. But a 7-foot wingspan at 16 years old, 6'10", good for him. Yeah, I love it, and I just never understood why people get so open arms about young people chasing their dreams and everything like that. People never have that feeling when it's tennis or when it's golf or anything like that. Nobody said anything about Coco Gauff, chasing her tennis dreams. She's still a teenager as well. So it just seems like it's always basketball or football where people they need to go to school, they need to go to college. Well, some people aren't built for it, and some people have other aspirations that don't require those things. So I applaud people for chasing their dreams, and it's their life. It's not ours to live. Let that family worry about that family, and you worry about yours. So I commend these young people, man, for chasing their dreams and having dedication that so few people out there really have. Yeah, but regardless of that aspect of it, I thought this was interesting just because literally we're not even a week. Actually, we're over a week
removed from name, image, and likeness becoming a thing now. And that didn't sway this kid at all. Within a week of name, image, and likeness becoming a thing, at 16 years old to commit to this, because I believe once you commit to this, you accept anything that's outside of the what you're allowed for. At 16 years old, if he accepts a car, he accepts anything, he's ineligible for college. So there's no going back from this. That's why I like the idea of this league, but I just really hope he has the right people in place, not just him, but anyone, because it's, if I'm not going to college, I can accept anything and everything. There are still restrictions. Name, image, and likeness, it's not a free for all. There still are restrictions on what you can dabble in as far as you know what you receive.
And like you said, he's 16 years old. So I always go back to this about Justin Fields, about watching him on that QB1 thing. Like, his dad was not playing with him. Like, he was the superstar, 5-star recruit going to, Penn State at the time he was committed to and everything like that. And he was the man. And hey, man, you ain't cut the grass. Get out there and cut the grass. I don't care if you've been at practice all day. Go cut the grass. Take the garbage out. Like, that's where the parenting comes into effect. So, you're 100% right. Yeah, he may be 6'10" and have a 15 size shoe. He's still 16. So, parents, you still need to parent.
Yeah, because that overtime elite can tell the parents, we'll get you a car, we'll do this, we'll do that. This kid's important to our brand. I hope he's not being taken advantage of because, look, I'm not all parents are bad. It's not even fair for me to insinuate that his aren't. But once you do this, if your parents accept this or whatever, you become ineligible. So you won't even have the chance to go to college, even if you wanted to. So I don't know. It's interesting, but I do like this opportunity for these guys. And again, it's not just football. That's it. You have college football, and that's it. College basketball, you can go the G League route. You can go play overseas if you want to. Now you can make money in college. Now you have this overtime elite program. There's options. There's options everywhere. It's just interesting seeing the tug of war kind of going back and forth between everybody. And by the way, those options, the G League option, I think propelled the college athletics to go the name, image, and likeness route. They were definitely bullied and pressured into it, rightfully so. This overtime elite thing, I think, is really interesting as well. Big game tonight, Reds-Brewers, game 2 of a 4-game series. Reds lose the first game of a 4-game series. And again, we're wrapping up the first half of the season. Kev, when we come back, this is the last show that we do with the first half of the regular season for baseball. The home run derby is Monday night. The All-Star game is Tuesday night, sorry. So the All-Star game is a week from last night. That's it. So that's it for us doing a show in the first half of the season. Now, big series for the Reds as they look to try and climb the ladder, as they are 7 games now behind in the NL Central. They are only one team ahead of them in their division. That's the Brewers. That's who they face right now. Reds, one of the hottest teams in baseball for the last month and a half. The Brewers going to cool them off. They did last night. Can they do it 2 nights in a row? It's a big one for the Brewers, even bigger for the Reds as they want to take momentum into the break. We talked about that with Hall of Famer Hal McCoy yesterday. If you missed it, it's up at wingam.com. Of course, you could subscribe and download the Justin Kinder Show podcast in your Apple, iTunes, Google Play Store, or you could just keep it locked in right here, 1410 Wing AM. We have that interview with Hal McCoy coming up next. Also, another programming note, Monday, we will talk all things college football with Phil Steele. Excited to chat with him. Kevin and I have him on the show coming up on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the conversation with Hall of Famer Hal McCoy, who joins us next on the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.